Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
2nd and 8, Bowman gets the ball, throws it deep down the near side for Rashad Owens. He makes the catch, and good night, Vienna. 10-5, pistols firing, touchdown Oklahoma State, 58 yards for Rashad Owens.
Wants to throw it on first down, hit as he throws, tosses it, picked off by Missouri, running the left side and into the end zone for the Tigers. Toriano Pride, the transfer from Clemson, with a pick six at 25 yards, and like that, Missouri goes up by 3 scores.
They look right, throw right, picked off, Mello Dotson, 25-20, 15-10-5, touchdown Kansas.
Garbage from his end zone, and he's hit, and he fires it, and it's picked off. Hawaii has the football. It's Logan Taylor. He's at the 5-yard line. My goodness, 20 seconds left in the half.
To Caleb
Yes,
Nassar.
yes, let's go. Midfield, 35-30, 25-20, goal line, touchdown, Iowa.
It's hit as he throws down the field looking for Nayor, makes a catch inside the 15 to the 10 to the 5, touchdown, Nebraska. Isaiah Nayor outfought the defensive back, made the catch, and then took it in for 6 points.
I really like their team. We wanted to give all of our guys a chance to play, but, didn't want to embarrass them. Wanted to give Jalen, Graham's had a chance to throw the ball some. And, they competed to the end. I really like their team. But I'm happy with it for our guys to come away with the win and get all those guys in the game.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. What's up, DB?
What is going on?
Apparently, and I think I had seen something about this, apparently DirecTV and Disney are having a fight.
Oh, are they?
Well, yeah, because we can't watch like half of our channels that we normally watch.
Oh, man.
We'll have to find something else during the next break.
That's kind of frustrating.
It is.
I don't understand.
Well, people get greedy, I think that's generally what happens there.
Don't we do this all the time?
Yes, with the television networks, yeah, and the providers.
Disney owns everything, so I mean,
everything.
Everything.
Which means if you're DirecTV, you should probably play nice with them, I would think.
Yeah, well, how many channels has DirecTV lost over these little mini spats feuds?
A lot now.
Yeah, and if I'm DirecTV, like when everybody's like cut that thing anyway, just imagine like satellite. That whole Dave Matthews thing is kind of played out. Get your act together now.
I know you're a big Dave Matthews guy. It's right in your wheelhouse.
He's fine. I don't hate. I'm not one of those people that's
not a hater.
He started playing the electric guitar. I'm out. He's too mainstream.
He sold out
now.
He sold out.
That's fine.
Yeah, music people. That's about all you guys cling to.
What do you mean, you music people?
Nostalgia. Oh, whatever, Elvis.
I'm not a big
music stealer.
Listen, I didn't say he was original.
Hey, by the way,
I just said my grandma liked him.
Before we bury the lead,
what's up?
I don't know if you dabbled.
Okay.
I got to go all the way back to Friday.
Like Sweeney?
No, that would be
Dabo. Okay.
Who, by the way, Coach 30, Clemens, he's got a funny skit on Clemson.
Does he?
Yeah.
I'll have to find it.
He opens by reading a scripture from Ezekiel. No, it's either Ezekiel or Ecclesiastes. It was one of the two. Oh, man.
They're a little different.
Your boy was in tears.
You'll have to send it to
I'm
me.
pretty sure it was Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the breakfast sandwich here you talk about one of my keys to the game with Avery.
Yeah.
Doing simple well. Holy smokes.
Hurrdat Sports Bar nailed it.
That sandwich was incredible.
Yeah.
For what it was.
It's just it's just a breakfast sandwich, but did it good?
Oh. I was like, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if enough people would get it on the menu regularly.
I would to just have it.
I would get it every time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I didn't eat it for like I don't know, 9 hours.
Oh, so you didn't?
No. I didn't eat it I didn't eat it till nighttime.
Yeah.
And I didn't even warm it up.
Oh wow. So you just went after it.
Yeah, because I just threw the top. I just popped it.
Yeah.
I was like, OMGZ.
I might have to get that next time.
Oh man, I'm telling you. Listen.
I got the biscuits and gravy, which was good.
Yeah.
But the way you're talking about the sandwich kind of makes me, I've got a little bit FOMO, you know? I will say one thing I appreciate about the biscuits and gravy, a lot of people don't like actually season their gravy very much.
Yeah.
And they did a good job with that here.
Big TikTok guy. Sausage and gravy is the source of a lot of consternation in recipes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Read the comment section.
Oh, I've eaten a lot of it.
Get your wrist slap. How big the chunk should be, like, salt to pepper ratio. I mean, it's kind of like defending the run. Sometimes you're fundamentally sound, sometimes you're not.
Unless you're Florida State, then you're just not ever.
So I'm going to tell you something about that if you want to start right there.
Might as well.
Not fundamentally sound.
No, not at all.
Like, if I could give you like an all 22, or I was talking about it a little bit with TK, some of that stuff, and I get it. They have some other glaring, the body language. They look like a team whose title chances are shot, right? Like,
yeah.
So, okay. Maybe Georgia Tech got them twice, and maybe it's an Ireland thing. Maybe there's like the Irish water when you come back
and you can't,
after you drink it, like you stay in your feels. Like it just is like
it was bad.
You just, I don't know. Maybe it's like a formula or Similac, where it's a dietary propriety to just be a baby.
I'm unfamiliar with Similac.
Well, you make good money, so you probably don't use Similac a ton. It's been proven to be a little sketchy. Shout out to those who have to use Similac that can't do things traditionally. So no disrespect, but yeah, don't do
not your first choice.
But anyway, like, I mean, maybe it's an Ireland thing.
Maybe
because they are seriously hungover and awful pouty.
Yeah,
but Coach Rule said something, because it always goes back to Coach Rule, right?
Always.
He said something a month ago that we kind of just looked at and kind of like, oh, like most things, he just wove that eloquently into a mini diatribe. He said that the staffs that stay together and show continuity and have teams that are cohesive and stay together will do well at this thing, in my opinion, in the future going forward.
Yeah, what did he say? He said, I think being veterans is kind of like the hack or whatever.
The kind of just, like cohesiveness, right? Florida State looks like a team that has a bunch of individuals.
Yeah, it looks like they've never played together before at all.
Got some high-end talent.
Yeah, 100%.
But guess what?
There's no reason for them to get beat up the way they did.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was.
But Boston College didn't even really have to. They didn't even have to like block you.
No.
You got multiple guys in the same fit. You got guys that won't. I mean, when your head gets down as an offensive lineman and I'm a D lineman, get in his hip. If you want to get upfield, and be selfish and play hero ball, hey, go knock yourself out. You get into the read game and zone, it will be like Ginsu. Remember Ginsu's fine cutlery?
Little steak knives.
Yeah, you will get diced up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it was incredible.
Well, and it also not only was it's
poor fundamentals.
Yeah,
stopping the run.
Not only was it selfish, but it also,
like Rihanna.
Yes.
Selfish.
It's a great song.
They also were soft. As soon as somebody got a body on them, they were checked out. They were done.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, as somebody who likes Florida State, it was embarrassing.
Yeah,
like
and I'm not going to get it twisted. Like I'm not. It's hard for me to love anyway, but like I'm not falling in love with Bill O'Brien. He's a good coach. He's a good college coach. He's always been a good college coach.
Yes,
but I'm not like. This isn't like
you thought that was more about Florida State than it was Boston College.
Do you want to go out on a date? You know what I mean? Like it's not.
You're not full on man crushing.
No, I saved that for Dvorak and guys like that.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, I've always thought Bill O'Brien was a good coach, and I also thought that we don't talk about him in the way that we probably should in terms of his prowess. But
because I mean, we have Texas, we have the Houston Texans.
Yeah, but he was better there than people remember too.
No, I would agree. I think it's his I think it's his
the way. I think it's kind of his personality and the way it ended.
Yeah,
right?
man. I mean, dude's got to be a wear out, right? Like,
sure.
Probably like fruit, got a miniature shelf life.
That's why you like him. That's why like him and Harbaugh were really good like in college, right? And I don't know what that looks like for Harbaugh now. Maybe he's learned some things, but like there's certain.
I hope Harbaugh wins just so I can stick it in your face.
He's gonna win at some point. I just don't know how long term.
Yeah, well, hold
like
that thought.
I'm a 49ers fan. I know how it goes or how it went before, right? Like that's a guy that had a shelf life with professionals at least, that they were like, hey, we're kind of over this. I don't know if Bill O'Brien's that type of guy as well, but it seems like he fits better in college.
Hey, can we make another breakfast sandwich?
I don't know if anybody's here to help you out there. Lord knows I'm not.
God, that sausage patty was delicious. You ever had a cold egg?
Yeah.
I'm not usually a cold egg guy. I know I've watched you pick over that one fast food restaurant, and it drives me up the wall.
I haven't gone there in like months.
I know, me
It's
neither.
been a while.
I lost 18,000 points.
Yeah.
Do you know how many meals that is for Ryder?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's incredible.
Is it several?
3.
Well, that's not that. I mean,
when you're poor, it is.
Well, I'm just saying, like 18,000 points.
PO.
18,000 points sounds like it should be more than 3 meals. Like in my head, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm about to start doing though? Like just take all my advice that I gave away for free.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine if I would have just like taken SC on the money line?
Yeah.
Points were a gift. Now, how LSU lost that game, I have no idea. But that's football, right? Like that's football.
At least they were competitive, right? Like on both sides.
When it was 10-10, I was like thinking this should be 1,000 to 1,000.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about playing defense.
Yeah.
You only have to be good when it matters. And SC was good when it mattered. 3rd and shorts and 4th. Like what LSU was doing in short yardage, no idea.
As long as you're not atrocious the rest of the time.
If you're not mauling people up front, and I get it, Emory and those guys are supposed to be legit up front, but they weren't maulers, right? They weren't. So get out of shotgun and run the football. Like Emory, like why'd you wait so long to play Emory?
Yeah. He was he looked like the best back they had.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just like it's hard. You watch Ohio State in the first half, which, by the way, man, God bless Greg Sharp for being back because we wouldn't have watched any television if it wasn't for that dude.
You couldn't figure it out?
Well, we have some new system.
Oh, gotcha.
And like, he's the Pied Piper anyway, so everybody like waits for him to get to the studio.
Yeah.
You know, he walks in and I'm serious. It's like
right there.
Yeah, it's a game changer. And so he calmly grabbed the remote controls. And the crazy thing is like Big Ten Network is there, and he didn't give a what. I mean, he was going to be sharp in all his glory. But it took like kind of much like this.
Yeah,
it took like some time for the TV channels to come in.
Yeah,
and he's like, we're just going to wait this out. Put this right here and see if it. So then all of a sudden the game started coming in. I'm watching Ohio State and I'm watching. We had Penn State,
West
WVU.
Virginia. You had Georgia Clemson early.
Yeah, and we had Iowa.
Yeah,
we were watching Iowa. So I didn't want to watch that game, but when he came in, he was like, "Why do we not have Iowa on?" And I was like,
"Well, all right,
okay, guess we'll change and watch Iowa." So somebody got booted, but I can't remember who was on the big TV behind me.
Yeah,
and like week 1, like there'll be all sorts of overreactions and stuff like that. But I'm just telling you, it's hard to win. And it's hard to win when it gets a little nut cutting time because you better like one another.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some teams that are like talented wise, where it's going to be something other than just, like sales and over routes and run and bang 8s or dime versus nickel. Like you better like one another.
So you're telling me
you better like one another.
So you're telling me if you have a culture of encouraging people in your locker room to fight each other, that may not go super well.
It's not good.
May not go great.
No, but
because like maybe that
do you know
offensive lineman doesn't feel like blocking that hard after that?
Yeah, you know whose culture could withstand a slow start and all the scuttlebutt we heard about Cade McNamara? Iowa.
Yeah.
You look at his second half.
Yeah.
Well,
he was
pretty good.
What I thought they would be in the second half.
It was pretty good. Oh yeah, you look like I get it. But you know what I'm not going to do? Don't you start that. Don't give me that look.
I didn't
not
do
on
anything.
Tuesday.
I didn't do anything.
Don't give me that look.
I'm just sitting here.
Don't apologize for treating an opponent the way that you should treat them.
Yeah, we're not doing that with Nebraska right now.
Listen, don't do it. Listen, people that do that, they're losers.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that out loud. I'm not into name calling, most of the time, unless I like you. But don't apologize for your opponent, because there's a lot of teams that woulda, coulda, shoulda their ass all the way out of being in contention. So don't apologize.
Yeah, we saw one of them last night
for beating an opponent that you should beat. It is hard to win. So don't. You know who talks about schedules? People that can't play. Listen to what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Do you know who talks about schedules? Is teams that can't play. Do you know who you better right now pencil in as the 5 seed in the college football playoffs? Notre Dame. And you know what you shouldn't do? Talk about their schedule, because they handled their business. Because let's not act like we did. Oh man, A&M and they're a dog and this,
Mike
that, and the other. And
Elko
Mike Nah, see, they went in there and made them look pretty pedestrian.
Yeah.
So don't hold that against them. Oh, they don't play anybody. Hey man, sometimes that's the nature of the beast. Slot them in as the 5 seed. Okay, because they'll be in the playoffs. It's going to be hard to score on those guys. So don't apologize for holding, UTEP to 30% on third down conversions, right? Don't apologize for the fact that they couldn't run the ball. Don't do any of that.
And with starters in, it was worse than that for their third down defense.
I think it was 1 to 10.
Yeah, they were.
Win.
And Nebraska's offense was 9 to 12 with starters in.
Win and move the heck on.
Yeah.
Like, for real. You think Ohio State doesn't want that first half back? But guess what? All you're going to look at is see is 56 to 3.
17 or whatever it was. Not 17.
No, Dave may be out on that. Let's not go crazy now. That was Akron, okay?
And let's not pretend. I was thinking 17 to 3 at half, and then got stuck in my head. Let's not pretend like we haven't seen Iowa struggle with these type of opponents to put them away.
Yeah.
Right? Struggle to score. It's not like Iowa putting up 40 on anybody is a change.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's Northern Iowa or Illinois State or whoever else, right? What's all the jokes?
Don't apologize for that.
What are all the? I saw all the jokes on Twitter about it was 6-0. They're like, oh, they got 3 safeties already. That's incredible.
What they have for total yards? Like almost 5 bills.
They must have. I'll bring it up right now. I know McNamara had 250 on his own.
I mean, it was in the high 4s, I think.
Yeah, I got it at 492.
Dang. Not that I'm championing Iowa this morning. I'm just saying that's pretty smart for me to remember, because I crunched a lot of numbers.
That's not bad
over this time.
Yeah.
Some of it is a little bit of the Columbus Discover. Some of it is like
crunch some college football numbers.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of.
Some of it is crunching the cows on that sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich.
I look at a lot of what we saw in week 1.
Did you just bomb that bacon?
That bacon was real good.
Oh,
I'll take it.
I crushed that stuff.
Gosh.
If you feel like you missed out, you can join us September 20th, because we'll do another one.
So is the menu rotating?
I don't know. I'm sure the staples will be there, like the sandwiches and the bacon and stuff. But I don't know if maybe they'll mix up the sausage and gravy for like a breakfast. I don't know. I'll have to ask them. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's going on.
Well, I mean, full disclosure,
you're just getting the sandwich.
You're
anyway.
A foodie. I don't know if I want you in control of
Oh, I'm not in
the
control.
menu.
I was going to ask.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have no say over what happens here.
Yeah, I don't want to be
it's
like
just
Baba Ganoush or anything.
I don't want to eat Baba Ganoush either. I don't even
disrespect.
What is it? Where'd Bob Noosh come from?
I just feel like saying it. I mean, for no other reason.
It's not like for a certain part of the world or anything, or
no.
You know what, like
no, it doesn't have to fit.
I don't get a lot of like curry for breakfast. Like that's not.
It's a unbelievable surprise.
Mess around and be wanting that for cereal.
No,
hollering at him this weekend is funny. That your guy. He just.
Which one of my guys? There's a lot of guys.
No, the only one that you actually love.
Oh, Coach Rule?
Yeah.
That's my guy. It's not bad, Nice little start to the season.
Knock yourself out.
I mean, listen, we've seen Nebraska play poorly in too many of these to be
right. That's what the funny thing was.
And that's what I was thinking about with Iowa too. It's like we've seen Iowa win this game 6-5 or whatever it was. Like we've seen Nebraska lose these games.
Yeah.
Don't act like 2 years ago Nebraska didn't lose to Georgia Southern.
So it's
which is, by the way, the last time they put up 40 points was in a loss to Georgia Southern. That's a real number.
What was the score with North Dakota? Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, it was 7-7 at halftime.
It's bad out there,
right? Like I remember
one of the greatest halftime snippets ever.
I remember being at the Buffalo game. It's like 10-7 going into the fourth.
Shane is like, Van Treese, man, Van Peace out. Why is Buffalo still in this game?
I don't recognize what we're doing here.
Quarterback.
quarterback.
Yeah, Van Trees.
The quarterback.
Google.
I don't remember who the quarterback was.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm like a walking Rolodex.
That's one word for it.
I have.
You're winning.
How much television did you watch?
An ungodly amount.
Yeah.
Just camped out.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was good. Had to catch up on some of the games that I missed while I was in Lincoln. I had to catch up on.
Hey, so you're gonna have to navigate that in your head.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I will say, I think it helps a little that I can like kind of score watch and know, okay, I need to go back and get that one.
Do you have your Are you a YouTube guy?
Yeah.
Do you have it on your laptop?
Yes. So I had that up during the game or during Nebraska. So I was watching pregame. I was watching Georgia Clemson.
Do you know part of the reason I like to memorize ahead of time?
Memorize what?
Rosters.
Oh.
It's so I can watch television during the broadcast.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to do that, but I can watch television while I'm doing my stuff.
Mastered it.
That's impressive, honestly.
If you can talk with an IFB in your ear and not listen to the guys in the truck, you can do anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could do that either.
Hey, fade to black, 60 seconds. One more question.
I'd be
Wrap
like,
it up.
stop
And
talking
I'd be like,
to me.
These voices in my head sound different than they have the first 40 years of my life. At least this is constructive voices now, though, because before it was
Burn it down.
I had one of my assistant coaches yesterday. We were out at practice, and it was, it's Lamanji, so of course we were there at 6:30 doing scouting reports.
Yeah, why not?
I know. And it's a little wet out on the turf when we go out to practice, and somebody caught me thinking, and one of the players comes over, and said player was like, Coach, like, what are you staring at up there? Do you want to talk chemtrails? And I was like, dude, this is crazy, but actually I was thinking, is this some conspiracy? Like, why are there all these lines in the sky? So we happen to talk. Now he's very political as a player.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't have broached the topic.
Sure.
Oh yeah, but my man educated me for about 4 minutes, and I'm like, player blank.
Yeah.
You're kind of scary, but I know good and well you get it from your parents because I've seen him post. He's nuts too. Okay.
Yep.
Come by it honestly.
Yep.
So yeah, I got caught thinking about why there were so many lines in the sky yesterday morning.
Yeah,
but if you can focus like that during the game, you're good.
I can't. I think it would drive me crazy to have.
I was paying attention to running back rotations, yards per carry, and balance.
For who? Nebraska.
And anything else
you could let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, shoot, man, Frazier, I love the way he puts one foot in the ground. Hey, and Dowdell on the carry. Damn it, he fumbled. Or you know what I mean? Like I could do that. I didn't say any of it out loud though.
Yeah, I would struggle with that.
So do you know where I get it from?
Where?
Greg Sharp. We couldn't get the monitor to work.
Okay.
But he wanted the television broadcast. So he's so powerful. He brought in the feds to get the TV right. It wouldn't change to the right channel. And he's amazing. He probably can't know sign language, but he was directing without saying a word during the broadcast. And those dudes got the channel changed. It was incredible.
You think he can call our friends at DirecTV, see if they can get this thing figured out?
I don't know, man. He might. My man can move mountains.
Coming up on the show today, we will talk to Matt Hladik from The Spun and our guy Mike J. Schaefer from Husker 24/7. Lots of college football coming up here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Everything's got their own things to do, and like I said, like I got love in my heart and a lot of respect for what they're doing. So, yeah, nothing really bothered me. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Shador thought I felt like I disrespected his father. He was standing up for him. Good for him. You know, my son would stand up for me. So I think I got a bunch of players in there. I think they'll show up on Saturday.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. And just like that, it's Colorado week. Coach Rule had some things to say about I felt like he did a really good job yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say because, you know.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I really
you have every opportunity to think about it. So whatever you say is what you want to say. You do want to say what you're getting ready to say. Not
necessarily, because I don't want to attribute malice to somewhere where maybe none was there.
Like the Palace?
Yes.
If I was Ron Artest, I'd dust the guy off too.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to get on the whole
that's fine
thing, but I don't want to attribute malicious intent where maybe none existed.
That's a big word early.
Bad thoughts and feelings. Is that better?
Wow. Why did you say it as though I have a hard time with command of the English language?
Because you kind of looked at me, a little glassy-eyed there.
Might just be because I can't see.
Well, I know that's true.
Wow.
I can't read.
Bad thoughts and intentions.
I think I said feelings. I didn't want intentions to trip you up either.
Too many syllables.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Sometimes I feel bad in here. And it makes
He cracked himself up. Did you hear that laugh? Shane, play that again. It wasn't even that funny.
Listen, sometimes the inner monologue's funnier than what happens on the outside.
Yeah, well aware.
Every
day.
No, a couple of our friends. I think Sam asked one of the questions, and I don't remember who the other one was.
Good job rescheduling him today, Shane. Too, by the way. What?
Nothing. I thought a couple of our friends tried to maybe paint him in a corner a little bit.
Oh,
with the questions.
Oh, yeah. No, man, you could Sam.
Yeah, Sip. That's who the other one was. Sip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's well aware. Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Well, that's the funny thing.
People have been trying to do this to him.
Yeah.
All off season.
He just pivots.
And he is not taking the bait.
Yeah. Not about that life.
He's just not.
I would love to hear off the record what he thinks about Colorado, but
I'll tell you a little bit.
Yeah.
He said they do them, we'll do us.
Yeah.
Like we're selective with what comes out on I'll tell you exactly
social media and whatever.
Yeah, he's like
chasing
you think we don't control what comes out on social media? We absolutely do. He said they just do it different. What do you want me to say? I was like, oh, I guess nothing. I won't bring it up again. But that's how he really feels.
Yeah.
Between me, you, and the 4 listeners we have right now, he couldn't care less.
Yeah. And I buy that.
Right? Like he couldn't care less.
That seems on brand for him.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the whole glass house thing is real.
Yeah.
So when you're busy doing business how you do it, and somebody asks you a question as if, to be reflective,
mm-hmm.
It's just in his wheelhouse to pit it against what he does.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you come across as hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I said, hey, how do you feel about such and such? Right. And I'm giving you an opinion on somebody else's show.
Mm-hmm.
If you're smart, you're thinking about in relation to how you do your own business.
Yeah.
And then your answer will just come out.
Right.
Right. People that are a little less secure will just talk without, but I mean, the whole glass house thing, it's real. It's real.
Yeah. And
they control their message coming out of their house better than almost anyone I've ever seen at the university.
Mm-hmm.
So what does he look like critiquing how Colorado cleans their house?
Well, and I also kind of appreciate, even though, there's a part of me that would love him to go like, and I get this is just not how he's going to operate. But there's a part of me as a fan that would love to see him go kind of full petty on Dion and just like light it on fire and see what happens. That's not the best way to operate. There's just like the vindictive part of me that would enjoy seeing it. Because I don't like Colorado.
You're a child. I hate Colorado.
Yeah. And I'm a fan, and so I don't have to worry about the consequences of like, hey, if I do this, it affects my team in this way. Like, it's different, right? So I get that, and I understand that's not really in how he operates. But I will say every other week,
mm-hmm.
and against most opponents, I really do appreciate the fact that he focuses on his house and how he operates and how they want to operate, and not about – I mean, it would have been really easy with the answer about Shedeur to just be like, I really didn't think I said anything that upset it or that should have been upsetting. And I thought maybe they took it out of context, whatever, and kind of like defend yourself, whatever. Instead, he goes and defends the guy that attacked him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, if my son was in the same spot, I hope he would defend me too.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't want Bryant putting hands on you.
No.
So he's great.
I do
enjoying his first couple weeks of class.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Class, I'm glad I don't have to do that class thing anymore. It's not really for me.
Nah, it's overrated.
Says the educator.
College. Not the basic building blocks of education are not overrated.
What's your degree in again?
Yeah. Yep, mild to moderate, K8 certified.
Well, that's a great question.
No, I think it's going to get really, really interesting this week.
Yeah, me too, because he finally said the quiet part out loud that I like. He's always addressing the elephant in the room for you because you're kind of a fanboy and you just like, go, Coach Rule, rah, rah, ree, kick him in the knee, go, Rule. Me on the other hand, that Nebraska nice thing drives me up the wall. I've said it for 15 years. And finally, my man just quietly said, you know what? Be Nebraska nice on Sunday.
Yeah.
For this game, like my man Bushwick Bill and Scarface says, sometimes you just got to let them hang. No, I'm serious. Like, knock it off.
Yeah. It's
a 6:30 night game on NBC. We've been atrocious on national television.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like tea and crumpets.
It's also a lot easier to be nice when you're kicking people's heads in.
No, that's what I've been trying to. Yeah,
like,
it's cool. It's like, oh, hey, cheers, the winners go by. Well, you know what? They never win.
Yeah.
So
it's like I would like to cheer for.
It's like it.
I'd like to cheer for us.
No, I'm talking about like in our creed, right? Oh,
yeah.
Cheers,
no,
the
I know.
winners go by and day by day. Well, when nobody was winning in Lincoln,
yeah.
Oh man, cheer your brains out. They ain't winning. But now people are winning. So don't say a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Shane, play that clip, man, so I can be motivated on a Tuesday. All right, because I think being motivated on a Tuesday is very important.
I'm sorry, I don't have the clip.
Shane, it is the clip about Nebraska nice. The fans, how do you not like? What do you like? What are we doing? Get Sasha in here. Get Sasha in here.
I think the quote was like,
Shane, it's Colorado week, so guess where my patience is?
It's really, really high.
Thin.
It's off the charts.
Thin. Can't stand those guys.
Thin like Dion's shoes because it doesn't have to fit all those toes in there.
You can't say that.
What, does the man not missing some toes?
That's inappropriate.
How's that inappropriate?
See, I like Dion.
Why you like Dion?
Why do I?
Yeah. He's not a guy that you'd normally like.
I think I would like to go fishing with him.
I wouldn't like to spend a minute with him.
I would.
He drives me crazy.
I want to know how he got his beard to come in like that, all gray.
Earl Grey? Like the tea?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's funny you say that.
Why?
There's a backstory, but it's Canada related, so I keep it pushing. Yeah.
Not a big fan of the Mounties.
Yeah. I did watch the Eskimos in Calgary yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Argonauts got beat by Hamilton, so I watched the double dip. They always have a Labor Day special thing.
Yeah, you're a little bit of a sicko.
What else was on?
I mean, I was still trying to catch up on college football all weekend.
I was good.
It's because you don't sleep.
I was good. I like. Who do you want to know about?
Argonauts.
Oh, Kelly came back from his suspension. They were so bad in the first half, and I think they kind of rested on their laurels, and they got busy in the second half. They got it to 28-28 after trailing like 3/4 of the game, but then Hamilton kicked a 56-yarder to win it.
Couldn't finish the deal.
Dude,
ran out of gas.
Yeah. Hamilton, Ontario. Toronto, Ontario. I don't know if you know, but both those locales are located in the same province.
Yeah, it's Ontario.
Yeah.
Hamilton Tiger Cats?
Correct.
Nailed it.
What's Edmonton's last name?
Eskimos. You just said that.
It's socially unacceptable. They changed it.
Oilers.
They're now the Elks. That's hockey, no nuts.
That's TV. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Well, he's got a big-time arm. He can use all 53 1/3 yards of the field, right? He can throw the ball from sideline to sideline. He's got a great feel for the pocket. He moves in the pocket. He can hurt you with his feet, but he slides in the pocket to find guys that are open. He's got excellent weapons around him. They ran the ball well this past game. And he's courageous and tough. He's an elite competitor. You're probably facing two of the first 5 guys drafted in the draft this week, so he'll certainly be up there.
Welcome back as we wrap up hour number 1 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage as we recap a full week of college football. It was nice.
A little disappointed in South Dakota State.
Yeah, I thought they'd show up a little better than they did with Oklahoma State.
But there are 2 games, right? I gave you the litmus for.
You said Penn State, West Virginia.
Yep.
If they kick their teeth in, then Penn State's really good.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma State,
and
South Dakota State, and you'd be interested to see how the lines held up.
Yep.
So, yeah, listen, sometimes.
I know, very good.
Not a lot, but sometimes.
Very, very, very good. Like that, Okie State has my attention now.
Okie State might be good.
Yeah.
The Big 12 is going to be interesting.
Well, I told you I like their depth, and you laughed at me.
No, I just like Utah.
Well, that's fine. You can like a team, but that doesn't mean they don't have depth. I mean,
that's fine.
SMU looked like atrocious, and they're actually going to probably be a playoff.
Yeah, they'll be all right. SMU will be all right.
Yeah.
Florida State may not be all right.
Not a big pocket full of stones guy.
Well, they throw Jenkins in there sometimes too. He looked better in their opener.
Yeah.
I thought they gave him a little change up.
Jenkins.
Not Leroy.
There's a cultural joke in there, but I'm not gonna say it because you know
What's
what?
that?
No, because you're already intimating at it.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
And I need to give you the green light to start acting like that before you just take
Give
it upon
me
yourself.
the green light. No,
Before you
John
go
Legend.
coded language on me.
I thought Jenkins gave him a little spark. That's all.
Is it Jenkins? Is it J-A or is it J-E?
Jenkins? Jenkins? Uruguay? Is that not how you pronounce it?
Hey, by the way, I think we should shout out my guy.
Who?
Mr. 24-14 held him in check. Idaho Vandals defensive coordinator.
Oh, your guy Dan Jackson.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
It was way impressive.
That was really impressive.
He's got it.
Because they're not in the same hemisphere athletically.
I know. But guess what? Should they be apologizing?
Nope.
Look ahead. What should they do?
What
should Oregon do?
Sorry about that.
Get better next week.
Okay, because
that's what they should do.
I mean, if they beat them, if they beat their head in, it would be
that's what they're supposed to do.
It was just Idaho.
Yeah,
but they didn't, and it's like now what?
They need to get better.
Okay,
I actually think those types of games for a team like Oregon early are good.
Why do you say their name like that? What school?
Oregon.
Oregon, like the trail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Ducks.
Sure.
Oregon.
Yeah, he held them in check.
Well, I think games like that are good for teams like Oregon early.
Think he was joking? Could I really go be his nickelback defensive coach?
I think you probably could.
I'm out.
See ya. Have fun.
Where is the college located?
Idaho.
Is it Pocatello?
It's in Idaho.
Punching you right in the face. That's my dude. It was good to see him. It was good to see them play well. I know he was stressed.
I would be stressed too. There's a lot going on there.
Leaves no stone unturned though.
That's in Moscow.
Moscow,
Idaho.
Yeah, I've never been there.
I can't imagine you would have. Like for what on earth would have led you to Moscow, Idaho?
I've been to Idaho Falls.
Is that Arena League?
Yep. How'd you know?
I know some stuff.
You didn't know what I just was talking to you about. But so
I don't know about Moscow, Idaho. I know that. I don't know that.
So
you're not too far from Spokane there. That's not terrible.
Coach Rule finally told a fib.
What's that?
He said Colorado ran the ball well.
No, they did not run the ball well.
Did you wonder why he said that? I wondered why he said that.
I don't.
They didn't run the ball well.
No, and then
ran the ball for less than 3 yards per.
And they bailed on it pretty early.
Yeah. They didn't have a running back rush for more than 20 yards.
Yeah, that was odd.
I don't know why he slid that in.
But
There's
got to be a reason, though, right?
I think he's probably just talking there.
Okay.
But you know what's funny?
What's that?
And I said this during the broadcast because sometimes it pisses me off because we have revisionist history when we want to poke holes. And believe me, I'm one of the few guys I think in the media in this area. I don't know like west of central Nebraska, like Kearney, what's being said. But I've talked about Nebraska staff needing to be better in game. I say it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Clock management, time. Like I'm not shying away from that. They know it. I know it. We all know it, right? It's amazing what competent quarterback play can do for you
your clock
with
management.
Clock management.
Yeah, it makes it a lot better.
Makes it a lot easier.
That drive at the end of the first half looked like clock management was on point there, baby.
Right. And then he would do subtle things too, like letting the clock run down.
Yep.
When UTEP doesn't have any timeouts, just to punt the football. See, it seems kind of innocuous and no big deal.
There's no big deal.
But it's good reps for how it really goes situationally, just like at the end of the half when they got points. And it's not like he all of a sudden got smarter with clock management against an inferior UTEP opponent. It was, there's a peace of mind when you play a certain way and you don't have to be multitasking, thinking, is my quarterback going to screw this up? Can we get the right personnel package in? Are we like you just?
It's a lot harder to think about clock management when you're like, hey, can my quarterback handle the snap on this play?
Yeah. Right.
Like that's probably oversimplifying it. But
look pretty good with clock management on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
But you know what the critics will say? Oh man, as UTEP, no pressure. It's not like Maryland were world beaters. Yeah, they're a conference P4, but it's not like
they weren't a great team.
Yeah, it's not
Also-
like they were putting all sorts of emotional pressure on you.
It's also not like situational awareness is this thing that you just all of a sudden like flip a switch against good opponents and now you have it.
Yeah.
Right? Either you have it against all the opponents or you're not going to have it when it matters.
I'm going to give you a shot. You got 8 seconds. Don't get sacked.
Yeah.
Put the ball where only your guy can get it.
Well, and what did he say in his post-game presser? He's like, I wasn't in his ear being like, oh, make sure you do this. I didn't call timeout to be like, okay, now make sure you throw it and whatever. He was just like, all right, 8 seconds left. Go take shots.
Yeah, so if like you feel like you're going to get good quarterback play and you like Coach Thomas, and it's weird because Coach Sad is literally like probably 3 yards. Now there's glass in between us, so I can't like rub his shoulders.
Yeah.
But he's so close to me. And he didn't skip a beat. I mean, I'm trying to give him the side eye because I have a job to do, and I don't want to be staring like, what's the response?
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking over there? I can see you. It's not like one-way glass like at the police, precinct or something. Not that I would know because I've never either been in or had to identify a lineup.
Me either.
I have worn cuffs, unfortunately. But anyway. Like
cufflinks or
yeah. Which, by the way, a couple of my guys for games are wearing cufflinks.
Yeah.
And some of the teachers help them put their
cufflinks in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had one teacher stop me on Thursday and she's like, hey, can you go check out such and such? I tried to watch when my husband puts in his cufflinks, but I'm not sure such and such are right. And I'm like, I get it because I have, testosterone and I get dressed up sometimes. I'm not a cufflink guy, so it's a crapshoot with me too.
You can send me a FaceTime video next time.
No,
I'll
not doing it.
I mean, it
I
depends
try
on
to
if
use low as possible.
It depends on if you want to do like a French cuff or a traditional.
Knock it off, all right.
I'm a French cuff guy myself.
Of course you are,
but
nice and peaceful, a little soft.
Listen,
you're in your French look.
When you're talking about culture,
no disrespect to the French.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I quit. Whoa! It's only Tuesday.
It's the first day we've been here.
They seem like they had it under control in the booth.
Yeah.
No panic.
When you have a guy that you have faith in, it's amazing how calm it makes you.
I've seen lots and lots of
Not
coaches
just about football either.
struggle with apparent clock management until you get somebody that handles situations.
Remember who couldn't manage the clock until recently?
Oh, yeah. Guy with multiple Super Bowl championships?
Andy Reid.
Yeah. That's the example I used.
And now I'm not just doing a Mahomes thing here, but like all of a sudden.
I didn't want to use him, but he was an easy one.
He's the easiest one.
Yeah.
People used to kill him for his clock management.
Listen, and it's still not good.
No, but it's fine.
Mahomes makes plays.
Yeah. When you have guys that make plays, then all of a sudden your clock management looks a lot better. It's funny how that works.
Hey, how about Nair? When you want something subtle about him?
Yeah.
Go watch the All 22 or the replay because you can still see it. His greatest gift is almost one you can't see. His body control and knowing where he is fantastic. It's not winning the 50-50 ball. It's little things like catching a dig or a hitch or a little comeback.
Here's the thing I noticed.
He can feel for where defenders are.
So that's what I was going to say.
Beautifully. It's very subtle.
On the touchdown catch, one of the most impressive things, because I'm watching from the press box, I saw it live because I thought Dylan might have overthrown it initially because Nair slowed up, got his body into the defender.
Do you know why he did that?
Because he knew what Nair was going to do.
Do you know why Nair gave himself a catch angle?
Oh, why?
Because he knew the DB would have to play through him.
Yes. Yeah. So he slowed down to give him.
Because he tracked it.
And then he burst.
Yep.
He saw where the ball was going. He slowed down.
Did you see what the DB did?
He had to slow up.
He had to slow.
Otherwise, it's a pass interference.
Yeah.
So it was like the Chris Paul thing where he backs into a guy after he's got him on the pick and roll.
It's incredible.
It's called in basketball, it's called put him in jail, right? Nair basically on a route, put a guy in jail, and then went and got the ball.
Watch him on like the I think he was like 14 back to 12 on the hitch along the sidelines in front of Nebraska's bench.
Yeah.
He took a peek over his left shoulder and he paused.
So he knew where the guy was?
So he knew where the defender was.
That's pretty good.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Out of breath, Brian, we can get to you at 8:30 if you want to call back. We've got our guy, Matt Hladik from The Spun, coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Two receivers tight to the left. That's Lovett and Smith. One to the right. That's Colby Young. He's going after Colby. Beck puts it in the air. Caught on a spinning move in the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia.
Takes his snap. Shadura drops. Pressure. Steps up in the pocket. Rifles this one down. Jimmy's out there. Makes the grab at the 35. Jukes him in at the 30. Down the sideline. On his way to the end zone. Hook to Horde. Jimmy has found the end zone. Touchdown. Touchdown, Colorado.
Pressure got there. He's going to go deep ball down the sideline again. Oh, man, did he drop it in? Good night. Welcome to Lincoln, Isaiah Nair.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We are joined now by Matt Hladik from thespun.com. Matt, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. It's tough to believe that we already have a week of college football in the books.
Matt, if you're me, I respect you, right? We've talked ball for a long time, and you have a producer that has a co-host that is on the radio network broadcast, but he insists on using the television cuts. Would you still work with that guy, Matt? I'm just asking for a friend.
It might make for some tense commercial breaks. I'll say that.
Thank you.
There might be a lot of debate going on.
DB and Matt here for Killing Shane. Matt, let me ask you something here, because there's always this tendency to overreact, and unless you're FSU, it's probably not warranted. But of the teams that kind of figured it out as they went or didn't, and I'm going to start in the Big Ten. I give you Ohio State, I give you Michigan, and I give you Oregon. Of those teams that kind of tiptoed through the start, who's most going to be like that given your expectations going forward?
You know, I think when you look at Ohio State and Oregon, both of their O-lines were a little bit rusty, I guess, so to speak, coming off of training camp, which isn't not a great sign against inferior competition. But, you know, that's week one, and you want to get the kinks out. With Michigan, the concern, I think, is, and this is why I lean a little bit more towards Michigan maybe being – when I say concern, I don't think Michigan's going to have a bad year at all. I think they're going to be 9-10 wins. They're going to have a really good season again.
And that's kind of how they play, too. I get the easy answer, but I wanted to throw them in there because of what you already think about them previously.
Right. You know, they're defending champs. They dominated last year, and – you know, they come out and they were very conservative, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're breaking in two new quarterbacks, including a starter who had been a walk-on, and I think had 14 passing attempts coming into the game, Davis Warren. And then Orji is obviously mainly a running guy, so there's definitely some conservatism in terms of how they went about that. But because of that, I think that's why there's, to me, the most concern that may be who they are, if not for all the season, for a lot of the season while they get things straightened out. You're going to learn a lot about them on Saturday against Texas.
Matt, let's talk about one of those other two teams that DB brought up in Oregon. As you watch that game against Idaho, how are you processing what's happening for the Ducks? Because that's obviously an inferior opponent in terms of just pure talent. That's a game you'd obviously like to see them pull away from at some point, and they really never did. Any long-term concerns for Oregon, or is that just a, hey, week one hiccup, like let's put a pin in that?
Not any long-term concerns just yet. You know, I think they have two games coming up against better teams than Idaho. Excuse me, sorry, fellas, about, you know, Boise State and Oregon State. Boise State, obviously, Aston Jeanty coming off a gigantic week one performance, 6 touchdowns. I don't have the long-term concerns about them yet. The only thing that I was a little bit surprised at is how much the line struggled at times, especially when you think about the fact they're going into the Big Ten where line plays at a premium. So I think if they get that straightened out, then I really don't have many concerns at all about the Ducks, you know, going forward. I think they got a wake-up call, and sometimes that can be what you need as a conference and national title contender.
All right, you can chew me up and spit me out. Again, this is out of respect because I love what you do. I said that I think watching Penn State, West Virginia, before the game started, I said I kind of really like West Virginia on offense. If Penn State does a number on them, I get the sense Penn State could be for real going forward. After watching that game, if you sat through the delay before you switched over, was that a good enough litmus for me to be convinced about that statement heading into that game?
Listen, I think it's good enough to be convinced that Penn State is a legit top 10 team and they're going to be a factor all season. But again, you know, it seems it's repetitive, it's cliche, yes, but it is the truth. The issue with Penn State has not been in those types of games historically under James Franklin. The issue's been against Michigan and Ohio State and teams like that. So, you know, if you look at Penn State's schedule, it actually sets up pretty favorably this year. They don't see Michigan, they don't see Oregon, but they do have to go to USC, who on that, you know, that Saturday, October 12th, which is just setting up as like an Armageddon Saturday with so many great matchups. And then they play, obviously, Ohio State at home later in the year. So I was very impressed by Penn State. I'll be honest, I was. You know, I thought they took apart a team that had a good season in 2023, was coming in with a little bit of momentum in the Big 12, and was home with the crowd behind them. So it was impressive, but you won't, again, Penn State, if I'm a Penn State fan, I'm excited. I'm happy with week 1, but I'm still in show me mode for later in the year when they get Ohio, USC, Wisconsin, and Ohio State, and even Washington, perhaps. You could throw them in that group in 4 straight weeks.
Matt, as we continue in the Big Ten here, obviously one of the Big Ten members that did impress was USC against LSU. What about that game do you think translates to USC in their first season in the Big Ten? Do you think it is, their improved line play? Do you think it's the defense looking a little better, or is it just, hey, Miller Moss is a dude?
Once they stop playing so much man-to-man, but anyway.
Yeah, but I do think overall the adjustment by D'Anton Lynn and the defense as a whole is encouraging, because LSU has a good quarterback and they have a lot of skilled talent still, even after they lost Jalen Daniels and Neighbors and Brian Thomas and all those guys. So I do think you're hopeful that defense is going to travel, and they actually have a defense now, because, historically Lincoln Riley's teams have not had that. Going back to, Oklahoma in his first couple of years at USC. So you're hoping that is what translates. I think, though, that when you look at the physicality of the game, the improved line play, those are all things that they're going to need to translate into the Big Ten. And I think that, to me, is what I'm most, happy about if I am a USC fan, because they were able to get in and get a really nice win over an SEC opponent in week 1. It was a little bit of a gut check win. They had to drive down the field and win the game. And I think that's where you hope that you can bring over some carryover going into, they should beat Utah State this weekend and at Michigan on the 21st.
Okay. So two pretty impressive teams. Which one were you more apt to say to yourself, well, look who they played versus the actual score? Texas thumping Colorado State or Miami hammering Florida?
That's a great question. I think Texas was more expected that they were going to do that to Colorado State. They're a home. They're a team that is coming off a college football playoff appearance. Most people are picking them as a top 2-3 team in the SEC. So I do think that was more expected. And that's not a diss against Texas. That's actually a compliment to where Steve Sarkisian has that program.
Yeah, because I think Colorado State is better than 52-0.
I think so too. I think, there's a chance, depending how this year plays out, Colorado State could be better than Florida too. Florida's a mess right now.
Yeah. Wow.
But I do think, while I was not expecting much out of Florida and I was expecting Miami to win that game, for Miami to go down there and dominate the way they did was impressive. Go up there, actually, technically, in terms of Florida geography, and dominate the way they did, and to just be the better team on the field by a wide margin was impressive. I think you can make the case, I was thinking about it today, that out of any team in the country, the team whose fan base should be feeling the best after week 1, and we know week 1 can lie to us sometimes, and there's a lot of seasons left, but it might be Miami, because you just destroyed an in-state rival. Your quarterback that you got in the transfer portal, who was your big off-season acquisition, looked great. The ACC is eminently winnable, and the two teams that are supposed to be your top competition, Florida State has looked atrocious. They're 0-2 with 2 conference losses. Clemson, I can't write them off in the ACC just yet, but we know it's clear. I don't blame you if you do, but they've clearly dropped a level or two under.
Well, their body language is awful. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't look like a team that believes in their coach.
That's an issue, and I think that that could be part of, even though some of these guys obviously haven't been there during the mini dynasty they had, Clemson's not that anymore. And when you're dropping and you lose that kind of air of superiority, that's a major hit. But getting back to Miami too, you have those two teams looking like what they did, and then the upset pick darling in the ACC, Virginia Tech goes on the road and loses its opener at Vandy. Yeah. So if you're a Miami fan, listen, you're not getting overly worked up, but you got to feel pretty happy right now with the way things have shaken out through the first week of the season.
Let me ask, could I convince you? This was just me watching the game, so I'm trying not to ask a leading question, but I'm giving my opinion is that, yeah, I thought Nussmeier was fine. He can rip it, big arm. I thought schematically, though, SC did them a ton of favors. Lacey finishes with the same stat line that he had at the half, which is kind of a problem. A lot of man-to-man. There's some of these routes I felt like he was stealing. When I look at LSU going forward, I put it against Kelly's presser. Man, I don't know. There's something about that team that makes me think that may kind of be who they are. I had no idea how they had only scored 10 points at the half, given what SC was allowing them to do throwing the football.
Yeah, and I think that may be who they are is one of the major sort of criticisms that you've gotten for Brian Kelly over the last, several years, is that this is who he is. He's a good football coach. He's no doubt about that. He's going to win you a lot of games, but there's always going to be that next level that you're left wanting for that you're missing. And you look at, I'm looking at their schedule I have it in front of me right now. There's no reason why they shouldn't win the next 4 games. They have home games with Nichols, UCLA, South Alabama, and a road trip at South Carolina where they're going to be the favorite team. That's not going to be an easy game, but it's a game they should win. Then they come home to Ole Miss, which is a huge test. They got to go to A&M later. They have to play Bama, and they have to play Oklahoma. So I think at the end of the day, when you look at what LSU is going to have a good year, I expect them to be kind of in like that 9-3 range. But that's, it's just that's who they are. And I think that's kind of who Brian Kelly is as a coach. You're going to be good under him. You're going to win a lot of games. You're going to, always be in a factor and talked about, but you're not going to quite be in that upper crust.
We're talking with Matt Hladik from thespun.com. Matt, you mentioned Miami and Florida State and Clemson in the ACC. Obviously, Florida State and Clemson haven't lived up to their billing early in the year, at least. Is there any other ACC team that you look at and say, hey, maybe they're good enough to challenge for that conference title outside of Miami? Like, is there any, I know SMU was a little sleepy in their opener. Like, is there anybody out there that you're looking at as a possible contender to have anybody stand in Miami's way?
You're going through the list. I mean, obviously, Georgia Tech and BC had the couple of impressive wins over, early on, but I'm not really looking at them as conference contenders. SMU is feisty. Louisville, NC State, I saw some people talking about as a possible sleeper. But the issue with NC State is, I know they won week 1. That's what matters. But what you saw week 1, again, is kind of a microcosm of what you've seen a lot with them, where they just kind of seem to always be on the cusp of a breakout, or, people think that they have that next year in them and they don't get there. So when I'm looking at it on paper, and again, things can change over the next 3 months, Miami should win the ACC. I think that I've watched some of that Syracuse game on Saturday. I love their offense. I love what Fran Brown's doing with Colin McCord. I don't think they have the overall talent of a Miami and, depth, especially on defense, to contend for a conference title. North Carolina, obviously, they lost Drake May. Duke, they won, but barely. And I'm looking at the rest of these teams.
What about Louisville?
Louisville was the other program I was going to mention. Obviously, last year they had a resurgent year. Louisville might be the other team, and perhaps maybe Virginia Tech, if that week 1 loss wakes them up and they get going to do what some people thought that they're capable of. Those might be the only teams that I really feel like could put a scare in Miami, because Florida State just doesn't look like they have it. And Clemson, like you said, you worry if it's partially in their heads now and there's kind of, something hanging over that program since they've lost that elite status.
All right, I'm gonna pick through the Big Ten here. I'm gonna give you 2 games of the 3. I'm gonna give you 3 in a row. Quick hits of tell me more this will tell me more about the team based on a win. We'll go 3 in a row here. Iowa State catching 2.5 against Iowa. The winner of that game will tell you more about whom?
I think the winner of that game tells you more about which team wins.
Going forward.
Okay, so make sure. I think it would tell you more about Iowa State because I feel like this is a bit of a crossroads year for them with Matt Campbell. And I think that if they're able to get a win against Iowa, which is obviously, an in-state rival, and, a game like that could give them a little bit of momentum going forward this season. So I would say a win for Iowa State tells you a little bit more about them than it would for Iowa.
Texas and Michigan.
Wow, this one's tough because I think that a win over Michigan, I think a win for Michigan would go a long way to alleviating some of the offensive concerns that a lot of fans have and I may have after week 1. But they're defending champs. They're at home. I think a win over Michigan for Texas tells you more because even though Texas may have the more talented team on paper, Texas is ranked 5 spots higher, at least before the new AP poll comes out. I think that going on the road there to Ann Arbor would tell you more about them than it would if Michigan wins that game home.
Save the best for last. Nebraska-Colorado.
Nebraska. And I'm not just saying it because I'm on with you guys, because I think that it's a huge swing game for both teams.
Yeah.
And I think both teams need this game to potentially be bowl eligible at the end of the season. But I think it means more for Nebraska because, listen, you're at home. It's prime time. It's NBC. It's an old Big 8 rivalry. You lost to them last year. This is a game that Nebraska has not won in recent years, and this is a game they have to win. If they win this game, they could get off to a really nice start in conference play where they're setting themselves up for some fun later in the season. But this is a game they have to have. You're home. You have your stud freshman quarterback who looked good in his debut. There's a lot of buzz about the program. I think this is a game that Nebraska's got to get, and I think it will tell you more about them if they win.
Matt, let me ask you about week 1 here. Which team do you think told you the most truth in week 1, and which team do you think lied to you the most in week 1 about who they really are?
I think that going around the country, I still let me think real quick. I think that, in week 1, probably the most truth, I think, I know it's a cop-out answer, but I do think Georgia is that good. And I know Clemson has their issues, and I know that they have their problems, and they're not on that elite level anymore. But Georgia, I think they are the number 1 team for a reason. They're fully loaded. I think that I expect them to be the class of the SEC this year. So I think that they probably did tell us probably the most truth and the most about, who are they going to be this year.
Could I convince you that it was Texas?
I think, yes, because I do think that was a big win. Like you said, Colorado State is not a team that, you think they're better than 52-0, even in Austin, and Texas was able to put a beating on them like that. Another team that I thought about taking care of business and looking exactly like what you'd expect was Ole Miss. I think you could also make a case for Notre Dame too.
So, you got to pencil Notre Dame in for the 5 seed, right? That secondary is they're the 5, right? Like, can we safely say that?
If I'm saying Miami's fans should feel the best after week 1, I think Notre Dame's fans have a case for being right there with them because of the fact that they got a big road win over an SEC ranked team. The schedule sets up extremely favorably. Now, one of the teams that you were counting on to be a potential nice win for you down the road is Florida State. They might not be that, depending on looking at how they've looked so far. But if you just take care of business, you're going to be hosting a first-round playoff game in December. So I think that Georgia probably told you the most truth about what they are, and I would probably put Ole Miss and Notre Dame right behind them.
Does the biggest lie belong to Oregon?
The biggest lie, I think Oregon is a case. I think I don't want to say they lied because I think they're really, really good. I think they can be a playoff team, but I think you have to wait to see if Bama is still the Bama. You know, they just dominated Western Kentucky, so I think obviously you like what you see if you're a Bama fan to start the Kalen Barrow era off, but I think you want to see what they do against bigger opponents to see, hey, is he really going to be able to carry over what Nick Saban established? But I do think that I think you could probably make the case that the biggest liar was Oregon, because if you watch that game, now you're really doubting them in the championship picture, but I think they'll be there in the long run.
That's Matt Hladik from thespun.com. Matt, great stuff. We appreciate it, and I'm sure we will catch up again soon.
Always a pleasure, fellas. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
That's Matt Hladik from thespun.com.
I thought Texas was impressive.
Yeah? Yeah, because you think Colorado State's pretty good.
I don't know about pretty good.
Contextually, though.
But they had 11 first downs.
Yeah.
They're better than that.
Yeah. I think
Texas, that was kind of an eye-opener for me.
You know what? And maybe this is just because I'm a fan or whatever. You know who I think told the most truth?
Who?
I think Florida State told you who they were. A lot of people assumed, you look at the line going in, -17. People just assumed, Georgia Tech's a fluke. I watched that Georgia Tech game. That Georgia Tech game wasn't a fluke. Georgia Tech beat their head in.
Yeah. Some of that I think is coaching, especially defensively.
But that might be who they are, though.
I'll give you another one. And I know you're going to say they're not very good, but you got to remember it was 2.5 going in.
Yeah.
And maybe Florida's bad. That's pretty impressive what Cam Moore did.
Yeah. We can get into that coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities.
We will be back. 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 Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
2 eligible left, 1 to the near side. Opening drive of the third quarter. 2.5 minutes in. Take the handoff, Lochner keeps it himself, and he is buried. Ty Robinson shoots in there and knocks him down for a tackle for a loss. Trips to the near side, snap back to Raiola. Step throws toward the end zone for Banks, goes up, makes a catch, and it is a touchdown, Nebraska. Jamal Banks out-leaped a couple of defenders and pulls it in there for 6 points.
Halfway through the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here from the Pillar Exterior Stage. That was a big boy catch by Jamal Banks.
Those guys won at the line of scrimmage quite a bit.
The receivers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it just...
Is that
how about where the ball was?
Yes. The ball placement was perfect.
It's the only place this guy could get it.
Back shoulder to the outside. There's no chance it's anything besides a touchdown or an incompletion.
Yeah, told Sharpie on the broadcast, I said, you know what that 50-50 ball is? It's 50 my guy catches it or
50
he
incomplete.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not 50-50 between him and the defender.
Yes. It was 50% out of bounds or touchdown.
I mean, it was on the top shoulder to the back pylon.
Right here, out here to the outside. Unbelievable ball placement, which we
it's-
saw for most of the day by Raiola.
And here's the funny thing. You saw the freshman thing all in back-to-back plays. You saw the late start arm throw over the middle, and then they come right back to the home run shot with Nair.
And that was, I thought, it was funny because I think that was the one decision on the day that I was like, ooh, bad decision.
Late over the middle, changed his arm
triple
angle.
coverage.
Yep.
Like, it was a bad decision to throw that ball.
But watch Nayor win at the line of scrimmage on that go ball.
Yeah.
Because that safety that he threw it away from is holding that play side hash.
Yeah.
So Nebraska's in a 3-by to the field. So they have 3 receivers to the field. Nayor is solo to the boundary. The backside safety is holding that hash. He should not be able to make that throw where he did, but do you know why he could? He held that
it with his eyes.
He held that safety with his eyes.
To the other side of the field.
Yep.
To the 3-by side.
So he was late getting there.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, all he's got to do is, if I can just hold him, I can put the ball where he can't get it.
Yes. If I hold him long enough, he cannot get to where I'm going to put the ball.
He clearly looked to his left.
Yeah. He was. You can see on the replay. He's here. If you're watching on the stream,
he looked to
he's
the
here.
3-by.
He's staying, then flips, gets it out to Nair, and not like he beat the safety by a lot. Like he had to hold him as long as he did in order for that to be a completion.
Yeah,
and then he put it in a bucket.
You know, I probably didn't do a good enough job on social media with the check with me on the run.
The Emma Johnson run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And listen, people that aren't, so I love this because people that aren't very smart, this is what they'll tell you. Oh my gosh, he can talk to his OC the whole time. Guess what your OC is not doing?
Telling you to check
after the formation.
Yeah.
Because do you know who has autonomy to do that? Raiola.
I'll say the quarterback. In this case, the quarterback does.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason Matt Rule told us he won the job. Because he's got
the check with
all
me. It's
also, let's not pretend like the last checks didn't come under 15 seconds after the mic's already cut off.
Yeah.
Like that ball was snapped with 2. He was doing checks all the way up till 2.
It was incredible.
So you're telling me that you think in that 13 seconds he's just doing everything you told him in the first?
And he got a short side. I say weak side, strong side. I don't like using. I don't talk like that. Like I'm closed or open. But sometimes people don't know closed or open, so I say strong side, weak side. To get one less defender to the open side, which is for all intents and purposes the weak side, you're allowing just your running back to deal with one defender.
Yeah, you just put him in a one-on-one situation and say, "Go beat him."
I'm like, I don't even know. I should text him. I don't think. And it took T-Fraze a while to start. I think his first check with me's were out of either the QB run game or he would look for 3 techniques. You know, you want to check dive away from or to the 3 tech.
Yeah.
And he could get in and out of, I think, trap and dive. I when he had full autonomy like that, like the whole buffet.
Yeah.
I wonder when that started. Maybe from the jump, but I don't remember it like that.
It certainly seems like Raiola's got it from the jump.
Well, he's a guy that's setting protection too.
Yeah.
So you'll see Scott make his calls, and then Dylan gets his too.
Yeah, and he did that. It wasn't an isolated incident. He did that a bunch. He'd go up to the line of scrimmage. He'd kind of set his protection with his offensive lineman. Then he'd go back, talk to the running back. Like he was doing that. I mean, probably I wasn't counting half dozen times over the course of the game.
You want to know real leadership? And I said this about Coach Rule when he allowed Coach White to play such an integral role in hiring Butler.
What's that?
If you pick that guy and you're good at hiring people, let that guy do his thing.
Yeah.
In terms of White and Butler, if you pick Raiola, the thing for you guys as a staff is you got to let him go now.
Yeah.
Right? Thomas, like, if that's your dude.
You named him the starter. You said that's your guy.
And you said you're going to call a big boy game for him.
Yeah.
You have to actually, like, and that's not.
Take off the training wheels.
That's not easy to do.
Especially a true freshman.
It's just not.
That's a guy that, I mean, listen, you want.
How about it? It was 2nd and 30 in that opening drive, and they overcame the penalty yardage. Like, remember when that used to be a death sentence? If it was 1st and 15,
it was
you felt
sentence.
like it was over.
Yeah, not just felt like. There's actual stats that if they had any sort of negative play.
How about Frost's second to last year when he said, "Well, when you start with a negative play, you know, I think they were operating at like in the 20-some percentile, getting a first down."
I think it was less than that at one point.
2nd and 30.
Yeah, and they scored a touchdown on that drive. It was unbelievable. Like that was. If you want to talk about somebody I think told us the truth in week 1, I think you could put Nebraska on that list. I think the Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, however you want to put it, told us the truth on.
I like what they did against those sets, whether it's quads or empty
on defense.
Yeah, because it's a hard game for box line or inside linebackers.
Yeah,
it just is, because when you got 5 in the box, sometimes 6. Right, 3 down linemen. Nebraska did a good job of kind of wrinkling it up a little bit. And let's say Bullock's inside. Right, he's got to take away the quick look-ins from number 3s, but he's still got to honor at least some QB run game, right? Whether it's QB trap, that's about all they had. But when you can't run the ball out of empty, And Nebraska deep holes the safety. They moved Gifford out of a traditional 2-high to like deep hole.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's a nice adjustment.
Yeah.
Because you're +1 on both sides. You +1 the 2-by.
Mm-hmm.
You have one free defender. One extra defender to the 2-by, and you have one extra defender to the 3-by.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that because they weren't going to hurt you running the ball.
Yeah.
That's the cat and mass. Go to mass. Pray for Nebraska. The cat and mouse matchup.
Yeah.
This weekend when Colorado is in spread and goes empty. Number one, they're going to have to block Shedeur. But 2, the concepts, what will Nebraska be willing to give up? Because you can't get it all.
Yeah.
Are you going to rally to the underneath stuff? Or are you going to not give up anything over the top? Is it running after the catch? Because one thing they've got to shore up is tackling angles.
Yeah.
Right? You got to leverage the ball, not the blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So if Nebraska's you have to take proper angles against Colorado, or they're going to hit their head on goalposts.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long day.
You're going to have a tough day there
because they're going to be in space.
Yeah, with Horn and Hunter, those are guys that
I always call them Weasel. Yeah, I mean they got some receivers. The cat and mouse is going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see what Coach Butler and Coach White and those
does
guys
help
put together.
Nebraska that again you're dealing with a team that probably is not going to be able to run the ball on you.
It's incredible.
I mean that's going to help. Right?
Yeah.
And
there's just no – and, you can kind of go middle of the field. This would be – I remember when Coach Coop and Coach Rule were over during a visit once, and we were talking about what we play defensively versus what they play, and we were talking about 2-man and coverage and stuff, and they're, drilling Caleb. And Coop wasn't a big 2-man guy because of scrambling quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see some 2-man this week because Shedeur's not going to hurt you with his legs. But the key is can Nebraska get pressure with 4?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to be able to because he's so savvy in the pocket.
Yeah.
Drifting, stepping up, floating.
I was saying he's going to hurt you with his feet, just not beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he is really, 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 really good in the pocket.
Yeah, his pocket presence is very good. It will be if Nebraska can get pressure with 4. I think that's gonna make a huge difference.
Because you got 7 to defend.
Yeah,
it's good math, right?
Helps a lot.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. They can't send 7 guys out into the field. You know that. That's there's an illegal man downfield situation. You get into trouble with. Brian, hold on. I promise we're gonna get to you in the next segment. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Let's Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Soon as we saw it happen, everybody popped up off the bench super fast, stormed out on the field, ready to go. So I just let them know, like, hey, we good. We know exactly what to do right now. And it just falls back on everything that we've been speaking about this offseason leading up into this game, about just playing great complementary football and always having, your brother's back. Something bad happens to somebody on the team, it's next play. We got to make them right at all times. So that's honestly what the mentality was for the whole defense.
Wrapping up hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're brought to you by EP Foundation Repair. They were hanging out with us here at the live breakfast on Friday.
You are looking live.
We were. I guess you still are if you're watching on the stream. But at Foundation Repair has you covered for whatever you need, whether it's foundation repair, basement waterproofing, crawl space encapsulation. They've got you covered. And best part, what I like the best, is they're local. Based out of Lincoln, Nebraska. They're deeply familiar with the local conditions, which allow them to customize solutions just for you. Give them a call, 402-588-5174, or visit epconcrete.com. That's EP with 2 P's to find out more about EP Foundation Repair. Let's get to our guy out of breath, Brian, here. He's been patiently waiting since earlier in the show. Brian, what's up?
Not much. And I ain't even going to hold that statement against you, what you said about Scott Frost last night,
What did he say, B?
Oh, Brian came out of pocket a little bit, so
just a little bit of what he said. Just to what I get, my interpretation is some people believe some people deserve to have a second chance at a job. All I'm saying, if you are the manager at Burger King, you can't just quit and come back the next day and then say, I want to be the manager still. You got to start from the bottom and work your way up. That's all I'm thinking. He shouldn't be a coach right now.
Was Ravi mad at Coach Frost, or were you?
No, all he did, so he was talking trash about Florida State, which is fine. They deserved it. And he goes, he said something about his Coach Prime on the line or something. And I go, I would hire Frost before I hired Prime.
Oh. Yeah, I said I see them making a call to Dion. Why not?
If they make a call to Dion, I'm out. I'm out.
I'm pretty well. Somebody gonna be out. You might not be out, but it looks like the head coach headed out. Is all I'm saying.
They're not firing Norvell. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Who loses their job first, McCarthy or Norvell?
I'm gonna call my family that stay right in Quincy, Florida. That's just a little north of Tallahassee, and I'm gonna talk to them and see what they think. They're a little bit closer, and their opinions might matter a little bit more than yours.
They're forgetting.
Now,
they're forgetting 23 wins in the last 2 years. Is that what they're forgetting?
Hey, you forgetting this? You forgetting what country we in?
What
People
was
make silly decisions all the time. Now,
Hey,
anyway,
what was her name? What was Watley's last name? What have you done for me lately? No, that was Janet Jackson.
Yeah,
I was thinking
that was Jody Watley.
Yeah, Jody Watley. That's it. Yeah.
What has he done for you lately?
Hey, how about that deep pull, B? That's pretty good up for your boy, right?
Oh yeah.
Her
Hey,
and her drawn on eyebrows.
I'm just saying, if Willie Taggart got 3 years, Mike Norvell's got a little leeway here.
No
still.
disrespect if you draw your eyebrows on. This isn't DB here for 8 weeks.
Happens to the best of us.
Unless it's Colorado.
Hey, people do that all the time. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
Have you
Especially
seen
on
people
certain
like?
side of town. I can say,
Well, like, have you started like tattooing their beard on?
Yeah.
That's what are we doing?
My barber has spray, but
No, he I'm talking actual tattoos.
My beard is the wrong color for it.
Hey, you see that new thing that's going on in the community where, I know it's famous for some people since Travis Kelce got a fade and started dating Taylor Swift last year. But
his barber is nice though. His barber is is legit. You could tell.
You see that new haircut for men who got bald spot top of the head. That a reverse face shag.
Yeah, I've seen the LeBrons. That's what I call that. Oh, you got the LeBron.
I'm like, wait a minute, that's a hey, a good weekend, a lot of football. Bowling Green, University of Louisiana Monroe, Central Michigan, Tulane, and Nebraska.
Wait. Is that 5 or is that a 5-teamer?
That was my 5-teamer.
Just randomly calling out teams like I don't know what you're doing. Bowling Green.
Hey,
what?
Hey, David, I said I watch football. I ain't watched this much football. I even woke up. Man, I'm kind of in love with Bronco Mendenhall's quarterback Dampier in New Mexico.
Yeah, I wonder why you asked me about them. They must have been in your plays.
I've seen him play twice. No, I've seen him play twice this year. He's a pretty good quarterback. Dual threat, quick. Just they don't have a defense. They don't play no defense on the West Coast. I don't think. I don't think they believe in that sometimes.
Let me ask you something. Are you surprised at the Iowa State line? That line does not seem right to me. It's only 2.5 Iowa. Not only do they own Iowa State, they looked pretty good, especially in the second half.
But it's the perception that they are a rivalry game and they're going to hang.
It hasn't been much of a rivalry, though.
But people don't see things all the time. People need to go to Vision Works and get some glasses.
I don't know. That game. Is Iowa State going to pull that off? Is it just me? 2.5 seems low? It does. I think they're begging you to take Iowa.
And
I think it's
Iowa.
I think it's fool's gold in Iowa City.
What do you think Iowa should be by?
I would make Iowa like 4.5. How are you going to give Iowa less than a key number at home?
Yeah.
It does look like people have been putting money in on Iowa.
Like, why wouldn't the free world just bet Iowa?
I don't know. Same reason they put 7.5 for their total wins this year. They don't know what they're doing with Iowa.
Grown people still believe in Santa Claus, so maybe that's where they went and put their money in on them. That's what it looks like. People are putting their money in on Iowa State right now.
See, I would be nervous. I told Ravi this I love Nebraska being 7 in the hook over Colorado. If it was like 3 or 4, I would be nervous. 7.5.
Hey,
7.5 makes me feel really, really good about Nebraska.
Hey, I know I was joking with you, but I seen when they put Harburg in, they came close. I wish they would have took Dillon out. I see they had 2 tight ends and a fullback in on the goal line. I would have liked to see my 5 personnel with 5 tight ends.
I tell you what, if Lindemeyer keeps playing well, you could use Lindemeyer, Fedoni,
my God,
Bonner, and Liebentritt. That's a lot of match. Oh yeah,
is it me?
But Bork is so fit now. He looks like a wide receiver. He looks like Dave Casper or somebody.
Yeah. What about I watched all the tight ends and I've seen that little flat pass pattern that they ran all game. I don't know if it's just me. It just seems like that isn't the right pattern, maybe to the short side of the field for Donnie because he's so long?
Here's the thing: when you, I'm telling you, because nobody from Colorado is really listening. There's 2 pet plays off of that with that motion where you can give eye candy. That play, there's a reason they show it to you. It's not just to flip it out there and get Fedoni a touch. They can get busy they can get busy off of that because they run they run so much split. They run so much duo and split where they use him to kick out. You watch what happens this week. Just a gut
he's
feel.
Drawing a lot of eyes. He's drawing a lot of eyes
because they didn't do anything on offense. They did it was very, very, very. It wasn't even homemade vanilla. It was just like Wells Blue Bunny. Shout out Lamar's Iowa. It was just store-bought vanilla.
Carter Nelson made that play look real good. The way when he dipped in and dipped back outside that block.
You don't cover a number 2. Just throw him the ball.
Yeah.
And then that touchdown by Banks. I know they worked on that and all. Throw it to a spot. It looked like he ran to a spot and then it looked like a basketball move when he reversed inside pivot on him to block him off with that backside shoulder. I was like, wow, that's amazing right there. I'm excited about what we're going to see this year.
You could make the case.
Appreciate the call, Brian.
Raiola's best throw
was a drop to Nair.
Was an incomplete pass. He threw that ball so early with such loft.
Yeah. The one that Nair laid out for and went through his hands?
Yeah. And I guarantee you, if Nair had it to do over again, he makes that catch 9 times out of 10.
That ball
threw that. It was incredible when and where he threw it.
Yeah. That ball was a dime.
Yeah.
Like it was he had some good throws. That was
I'm telling you, Nair will tell you next time I'll run through that. He may not even need to dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think do you think he thought it was further out from him than it was? Yeah.
Yep.
Because he did put a good amount of air under it.
Oh, early.
Yeah. Which that's so hard to do.
Dude, it was pretty.
The timing on that.
Obviously we were like the cheat code because we got the great view, but you're up there too. You see when he let that thing go?
Yeah.
You thought it was way overthrown, didn't you?
I didn't think it was close.
Me too. Me neither.
I thought the second one was overthrown too. The one that Nair caught.
Yeah.
Because of that.
I love the little baby Hezzy that kind of gave him in the air.
Because of the action that we talked about, I thought he overthrew the second one too. But Nair learned, I think, from the first one. He's like, hey, just run through it.
I'm telling you, that guy, his body control is sensational.
The balance after that catch was unbelievable.
Yeah, hand down. No man down. The anti-Mark Jackson.
That's not a catch 99% of the time.
Dude, that's a Coach Solis drill. Hey, work the balance drill.
Yeah.
Hand down. Take good care of the ball. Come out of the back end.
Yeah.
He was not going to be denied.
Hand down. He wanted that touchdown.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
He is a really good player. There's going to be a lot to dive into, whether it's from UTEP or as we look into Colorado. But I'm interested to hear about what you think they're trying to do with that tight end little swing pass to the outside, because I know that frustrated a lot of people because it looked like Fedoni had a hard time turning it upfield.
Don't be frustrated.
I think that was a very common from my Twitter interactions. That was a common frustration.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's all right.
I'm not giving up because I'm not sitting here telling you I know what I would do off of that.
Yeah.
And I think they're smarter than me, so I'm sure I know what they'll do off of it too.
Well,
It's called eye candy.
I like eye candy, or no, I just like candy. I also like it when you fasten your seatbelt when you're in your car. It saves lives and prevents injuries, but only when you make it click. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Mike Schaefer coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
I think we've been great. This team's been, it's an older veteran team, right, for the most part, and they've been through a lot. And, they understand that the process works. There's nothing scientific about what we do. You show up each week, you prepare, you practice, you go to meetings, you're coachable, you take care of your body, you lift, you hydrate, you sleep. You get to the end of the week, you get yourself mentally ready, knowing what to do. You get yourself emotionally ready, excited to play. And then you go to the game, you try to play one snap at a time, stay in the moment, don't get distracted, and be great teammates. So I think our guys understand that that's not all this other stuff anymore, right? They kind of understand it's just this. And so, the trials we went through last year, starting off 0-2, getting blown out by Michigan, practicing the next day, winning a couple in a row, and then having a tough end, I think has really matured these guys. And so they understand it's going to come down to our ability to cover, rush, block, tackle, get open, things like that. So a really good group.
Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR, and Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We are joined now by Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7. Schaefer, what's going on, man?
Oh, not a ton. I want to say I appreciate Ravi came over in the press box, said hello, greeted me on Saturday. Never saw Damon. That's not unusual. Didn't makes himself scarce, not a man of the people.
Hey, so full disclosure, I call that first divider, where you can pick up all the media packets in that little window.
Mm-hmm.
See, I call that Dodge Street. I almost never go north of Dodge on a game day because a lot of times, and I typically always come say hi to you guys because you're usually always in a row. But sometimes it's very, very far from where I need to be, and sometimes I never get back, Schaefer. So I try to not go north of Dodge too often because I usually see you. We're in the media, like where you get the food and stuff or the drinks. Where when you're
throw
like
me under the bus.
When you're like like, when people are like
the guy who's always over there getting.
I said drinks.
Of course.
When people are like bumping into you and plates drop. That's normally where I see you, right?
That is true. I did not see you in the
area. I was not making myself very available. And I may not for a while. I don't know. I don't have any like
you got debt collectors in there? Or
no. So Kugler, these yahoos had me all hemmed up. I couldn't go anywhere. I had Kugler and Bishop and Severe and Putney. So it was like old home week. So I shot my shot communicating with those guys, and I didn't have anything left in the tank.
Let's see how it is. All right. Well, if I ignore you this Saturday, it's because you did it to me this previous one. So
Schaefer, I've got all day to get ready. I think our pregame doesn't start until 2:30, maybe.
Sounds right.
What time will you be arriving from Beatrice to downtown Lincoln, Schaefer?
Beatrice is northwest Kansas City, where I live. You get right over and watch Isaiah Mosey and Austin Merritt. They're right in my backyard. So.
Speaking of which, a surprise to no one. Oh, Merritt's like, I think I want to see what's going on in Lincoln. Yeah, it could be pretty fun, Dawson. Might be pretty fun. You want to come check us out?
Yeah, no, that's a I have a theory that basically Nebraska, when they heard that he was committing to Alabama, was like, yeah, that's fine. We'll send you an invite to that Colorado game anyways. We'll see you then. There's no way, even when it happened, and he told me that he did not want to be one of those people who committed somewhere and then still had a wandering eye. Like that was a big part of our conversation in April. And as we got into the decision in June, and the one time I talked to him in June, and he was just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to decide, and then we'll see what happens. And I was like, okay, so the wandering eye could be a thing, and that's possible with Dawson Merritt. He's not they're going to have some really interesting guys. I just got word. I think it's probably already out there, but we try to confirm these things ourselves. Cortez Mills, the Oklahoma wide receiver commit, was out here in January, visited for the spring game. A guy that I think Nebraska has, a fair shot at, even as he's committed to Oklahoma, a wide receiver that I think really likes the idea of playing with Dylan Raiola. He's going to be here as well. And so, and Oklahoma's a program that doesn't like to see their commits visiting elsewhere. So that's kind of a big deal if you're willing to do that and be public about it. And so going to be a huge visit weekend. I am very, very intrigued to see how many people they cram into their little velvet rope section over there. I think they're going to have to extend that thing out. Their VIP area is going to be a lot bigger this week. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. The atmosphere is going to be a lot of fun. I'm happy that it comes after Labor Day. It's like all of yesterday just didn't matter. You just eliminated it. You're one day closer to this game. Looking forward to that.
So here's the funny thing. You saw an easy reason why Nebraska wanted to be on the east sidelines for so long. How snug is it on that press box sideline for their personnel? Like, that's the downside of being over there. While UTEP was baking in the sun, Nebraska's like, man, this sucks. We don't even have any freedom of movement over here. Were you not a little taken aback by that, Schaefer, or did you know?
They did it during the COVID year, but it was weird. It was one of those things that you knew was going to happen. And still, as the game starts and you're doing the thing that you've done for 13 years, and you're looking across at the sidelines, looking for key numbers, you're like, wait a minute, I'm looking too far across the field. And so I had to adjust to it. It's different. It is definitely different. I mean, we'll see what that stadium looks like in a couple years after the grass gets put in and all the other changes that they, at least at the field level, want to do. But yeah,
well, according to Ravi, they'll be getting ready for the college football playoffs, so it'll be pretty exciting.
Oh, they're hosting the CFP at some point.
2026. That's Ravi's year. He said bookmark it.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll file that one away, and
I assume they'll have a bye by then, though. So no, I'm just
he assumes so. They'll be firmly perched in that bye week spot, Schaefer.
Wow.
No, I don't want to make outlandish claims. Just a regular old playoff spot by 2026. You don't need a first four.
Ravi and Ross Perot here for 2026.
I don't think Ross is running in 2026.
It's not even.
I don't know if Ross Perot is here in 2024. Is he?
I don't know. I
Shane
believe
DOA. Ross Perot. Shane's up looking for
Yeah, you don't have to look for it. I'm pretty sure he's.
I believe
he's outro.
He's left this mortal coil. Schaefer.
It's my political rant this morning.
Yes.
Got that out of the way.
Is Ross Perot dead or alive? You really took a controversial stance there, DB.
You know me, team controversy.
Yep, he really, he's here for third-party candidates, apparently.
Me and Prince. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Also, RIP, pour one out.
RIP 2019, I just looked it up.
For Perot or Prince?
Ross.
Okay.
Shapes like WTH. What a debacle.
This segment never had a chance.
Got off to a good start with Dawson Merritt. That's all I know.
You brought up a sentiment with Cortez Mike the Miz, Cortez Mills, that it seems to be pretty popular lately. It seems like it's a reason we heard as to why Mac Markway was just like, hey, I'm just going to show up. The whole I want to play with Dylan Raiola thing seems like it might pick up some steam.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that is evident about Nebraska just going to a true freshman quarterback and somebody like Dylan Raiola, who had attended all of these camps and knows all of these recruits, he's just a known name. I mean, Nebraska just hasn't had this a lot that I can recall where they have someone that has national cachet on the college football scene. Like even their best players in the last 2 decades. I mean, Sue was a reserve guy who did all of his talking by ragdolling quarterbacks. Amir Abdullah, was a big deal, but he didn't transcend college football to where you had people talking about him all the time. I think Dylan Raiola is that talent, and he can be a real Pied Piper. Like he can lure a lot of talent to Lincoln, because if you saw it Saturday and you know that it's UTEP, and obviously the thing about it is it didn't matter who the opponent was. Look at those throws. Look at that 2-minute drill. Look at the way he stepped into that pass to Jamal Banks, and you could read his body language after he threw it. He knew he threw that perfectly. You don't know that the other guy's going to come down with it, but he put that ball exactly where he wanted. One of the best throws of the entire day wasn't caught, and it was the pass to Isaiah Nair in the first quarter that was beautifully thrown right at the end zone line.
100.
I mean, that might have been one of the best deep ball throws we've seen in that stadium from someone wearing a Nebraska uniform.
I told Ravi, do you remember how early he threw that?
Yeah, like his anticipation is so good. And we're going to sit here and we're going to wax poetic about him for a while, but you saw it in the very first game. Like there are things that he's able to do that we just haven't seen Nebraska quarterbacks do ever, maybe. I mean, I know that sounds so absurd to say about a guy after one game, but that's the kind of arm talent he has. And then you throw in that cachet that I'm talking about, and people want to play with him. I mean, I joked with Dawson Merritt last night. You told me in the spring, you and your dad couldn't stop talking about how much he looked like Patrick Mahomes and dressed like Patrick Mahomes and talks like Patrick Mahomes. You watched him play on Saturday. And Dawson's like, it's the same guy. Same thing, same guy. And Mahomes is the king of football right now. So if you have someone who looks like his prince, people are going to be really excited about that. And I think that's going to be a big driver for them. It's a big driver for them in terms of the transfer portal too, when we get to that. And so it's a really unique spot, and Matt Rule and his staff have to figure out how they can best take advantage of it. But there's no doubt in my mind that when some of these guys that they really liked, and they know like them, committed elsewhere, they knew that they had a ticket for that Nebraska-Colorado game. And if it looked like it did against UTEP, people are going to be excited, and they are. And who knows what it's going to look like against Colorado and going forward either.
That's awesome. I can't wait till David Sanders changes his mind. Hey,
that's one I'm a little less. I know that you have better ins there than I do. That Tennessee NIL package right now is something else.
Hey, so Schaefer, I know I'm not going to go all Ravi, and I'm here for anti-Nebraska running backs because Ravi hates the running back.
I said they're just fine.
But man, I'm not. 200 yards is hard to go out and do every week. But do you kind of like how somebody does a little bit everything different? Like they have there's differences to them all. Like I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were going to put together a committee, you sort of like how this looks in the sense that you have different guys for different roles. I was, like I think a lot of people, was pretty impressed by Dante Dowdell. The fumble obviously took away some of it, but the way he came out and the way he ran early on, that impressed me. I mean, it really did. And then, of course, you had Emmett Johnson with the big run. I still don't think they have a guy who's a home run hitter as part of that committee. I just don't know that there's this sudden speed, quickness where you're going to get someone who just breaks a 65-yard run, in a game. And that's fine. They don't necessarily have to have that.
Quentin Ives.
Well, we'll see.
Just saying. I feel like both of you guys want to laugh at me. I feel a little. I feel
how far down the depth chart is it? Like you got to go a little ways before we're talking about Quentin Ives, right? Like,
I mean, he's no Ravi Lulla, but still,
is he 5th or 6th?
Whatever, haters.
I'm just saying,
7th.
like, you're not going to be in situations where that guy's going to see the field a lot. So, if that's your home run hitter, that's it's like having a guy in Double-A. That's nice, but he's not helping the major league club right now.
Just needs David Sanders Jr. blocking for him. That's all. All right,
you're on one right now.
That's next year best case scenario.
Yeah. Shape, I stay on one, but let me ask you something here, Mike J. Just because I think it's really interesting. How hard or easy is it for you, especially now that you have another week under your belt, to not sequentially say, well, I saw Team X do this, so this week it should look like this? Or are you just like, man, I kind of just want to see how this is?
I think, for me, it's relatively easy. Over the last couple of years, it's been made easier not to go all in on what you saw in week 1 and transpose that across college football. I mean, there's a lot of teams that didn't have their best showing in week 1. I love I pretty much every radio interview I'll do this week, I'm going to reuse a line that I always enjoy it. And it's the biggest jump a team makes is from week 1 to week 2. You hear every coach say that every year. I love it. I think there is truth to it, but we've said it so many times. I feel like it sounds almost hollow at this point. But that's the thing. I mean, Nebraska played really well, and they can still play better. There's still more for them out there. They can still have a cleaner, better performance. They can still, Dylan Raiola can maybe find a receiver down the field that he missed this time out, or you don't put the ball on the ground, or the defense doesn't have that one drive where everything just went wrong. So that's the thing about college football, and your last week is your last week. It doesn't matter what you did previously. It matters what you're going to do going forward. And that's Rule's mindset. I appreciated the way that he went out and said that their season isn't entirely based on the Colorado game. I think that's important for your head coach to say that, especially when you've got a team that, when they've been given opportunities, have looked them in the face and shrank. So Nebraska has an opportunity in front of it on Saturday. It doesn't need to feel like it's the biggest and most important part of the season, but they have an opportunity. So what are they going to do? They got to rely on the training and the practice and everything they've been doing. That's what Matt Rule is, preaching. When he says it's a day-by-day operation, he wants them to reflect on what they've been doing day by day, not just looking ahead or not circling Colorado. I mean, the game's important. But I thought that was a really critical part of yesterday's media session. And it's, it's coach speak, right? But I still think it's important that he said it.
I don't know. I love it. Like, you talk about simple versus easy. Well, you prepare, you take care of your body, you get your rest, you be a good teammate, you stay in the moment, you practice, and you realize that all those other things aren't important anymore. And it's just, and I'm like, yeah, like it is that easy. To be honest,
simple.
No. It is that easy. Because here's the thing, Schaefer. How many of us, if we had the blueprint to what we thought would be a pattern of success, would just do what we're told? If you told me, hey, DB, you could make $1,500 on Friday if you do this, and this, I guarantee you I would do this, and this. Like, what else is there after you see these teams in college football and in the pros get so distracted by other things? Like, why wouldn't you just do it?
Well, that gets into a really deep conversation about the mental psyche of repetition and staying on track with things and the
being
disease
able
of
to be
bore.
consistent and being able to endure and being able to.
You don't have time to do anything else, though.
Right, but that's part of the problem for some people.
Is it?
Is they want time to do something else.
Well, guess what?
That is a big part of the conversation, actually, which is why they are now receiving compensation, which is good.
Are you tougher on people now, Schaefer, because they are being compensated?
No, that doesn't really bother me. Like it's the same thing as it was before. They're a college football team. They are college football players. There's an expectation that they want, and that fans have, and the media has, and I just move forward with it. I mean, I didn't look at yesterday thinking, wow, Jamal Banks made that catch. They better up his NIL for the next week. I don't care about that. Like, I have never understood the necessity to try to think of these players as dollars and cents. Like, they're compensated because they're putting in time. They're not compensated because their entirety of their worth is just based on financials. And it doesn't mean that I can't enjoy the sport of football because they're compensated. Like the conversation always seems so backwards to me because I don't care. Like, I really don't. I mean, Dante Dowdell shouldn't have to give money back because he fumbled a football. What he needs to do is just not fumble the football. Like, that's what's important here.
Well, and let's not pretend like all of us haven't worked with people that got paid just for putting the time in, whether they were good at it or not. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what my colleagues think of me at Husker 24/7. They might have that opinion right there.
I'll tell you, Brunson and I.
I'm still showing up to work. And
that guy is absolutely stealing debate based on what the time and effort he puts in. Yeah, I don't.
They might think that, but I'm still going to show up to work every day. And by show up to work, I mean just turn my computer on.
All right, you ready to do a little fact or fiction?
Sure.
Cade McNamara is going to be a quality quarterback in the Big Ten.
Can we get a definition of quality?
Well, I mean,
better than Iowa had last year.
Yeah, but it's a pretty low bar.
It
Like,
is a
okay,
low
so
bar, but I mean,
are we saying? Can I give you a name?
Worse.
Is Cade McNamara at Iowa, Tanner Morgan at Minnesota? Is that what we're saying here?
I mean, kind of. Although he put up good numbers, though McNamara, he threw it well. And this is after he hit a couple guys in the back of the helmet with a ball.
Well, I mean, it's still Illinois State, right? Like,
yeah. Okay. How about this one? Chillis will struggle in East Lansing.
They struggled on Friday. I'm going to say fiction, though. I think there's a lot of talent there. I think Jonathan Smith's a good coach. I think they'll get that on track at some point.
Okay. Michigan will continue to plod along, racking up W's.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, they have a talent disparity. They don't play that hard of a. Well, they do have Texas coming up, so they do have one very challenging game. But yeah, I think they're an upper Big Ten team, even with maybe less talent than they had last year.
Notre Dame
definitely less talent.
Notre Dame is the 5 seed.
That's fiction. I think Notre Dame's getting a bye.
They can't get a bye.
They can't because they don't have a
they don't have a conference.
No conference.
No.
5
I
is.
did not know that. All right. Well, then, yeah, they're the 5 seed. I think they're one of the 4 best teams in college football. But if they can't be in that, then they're the 5.
Whoa. Okay. Bama will be just fine.
Fact. Kalen DeBoer's a good coach. I mean, when we're saying just fine, like I think they're going to be in the college football playoff. I don't think they're going to win the national title this year, but they're still going to be no worse than 8th in the country by the time it's all said and done.
Dan Jackson is apparently the greatest defensive coordinator in the history of Idaho Vandals football.
I'm a big Dan Jackson guy. I'm also a big Jason Eck guy. Whoever hires him in this offseason is getting a hell of a coach. If you're winning at Idaho, and put aside the 24-14 loss to Oregon, that's a good performance. But they're winning games at Idaho, and they are very fun offensively. Like, that's a very good FCS team.
Let me give you guys a deep cut. Okay, you ready? Because I think they're kind of left for dead, and they're dangerous. They're hosting Mississippi State this weekend. This won't be the last time the three of us talk about Arizona State this year.
They got a good coach. I mean, I think that they're kind of a sneaky team in the Big 12. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Me too. Right? Like, nobody's really going to talk about Arizona State a ton, but they're definitely on my radar. Right? Don't they strike you as the type of team where it's like, man, they're interesting?
I mean, they have a collection of pretty good athletes. They always have a collection of pretty good athletes. I mean, their hire they had, it's Dillingham, right? Like,
Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah, I could not come up with the name for
He
the
was
life
the
of me.
Oregon OC, I think. Right?
They really, really wanted him, and he had to wade through some things early on. But I think they put together a pretty good team, and the recruiting operation solid. And I think it's not hard to get athletes to Tempe. We'll put it that way. So they always are going to have skill guys.
There's a lot to like there.
I'm going to give you another sneaky game this weekend. You ready, Schaefer?
Yes.
Tulane will give K-State all they want and then some.
Well, that's nothing new. They've done that before. They just don't have Willie Fritz to back them this time around. I got to say, Willie Fritz hurt my feelings with that performance against UNLV.
Schaefer, you got feelings?
When it comes to Willie Fritz and the 75% covers over the last 10 years.
That's our guy, Mike Schaefer, Husker 24/7. Appreciate it, Schaefer. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Schaefer.
Hey, guys.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We're also on KFOR in Lincoln for this third hour. It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Warhorse Sportsbook, no bets, no glory. It's the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bet. Keep your money on this side of the river and head out to the sports books in either Lincoln or Omaha. You can bet on almost every major sporting event in almost any way imaginable. Straight bets, parlays, live, in-game, however you're feeling. You know, maybe props as well. You know, DB's got some thoughts on some.
I got lots
on some gambling this weekend, but Warhorse Sportsbook, no bets, no glory. You've been on this Iowa State line a lot.
Yep.
The money line and the spread.
Yeah.
Talk to me. What do you think's happening here?
I don't think it's right. I think that given Iowa's dominance in the series, Iowa's at home, people are excited about Iowa offensively. It's kind of a shaky year for Campbell, even though Campbell's Campbell at Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe you're going to give the better team, the dominant team in the series.
At home.
They're at home. People are riding high on Iowa. You're going to give them less than a key number and only a minus 135 money line. Doesn't seem right at all.
Doesn't pass the sniff test?
Nope. Not even a little bit.
So I think Vegas is telling you something.
I think that you either take Iowa State or you just watch as a spectator.
Stay away.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
But
that's not even the for sure thing of this week, because there's lots, but
it just smells funny.
It reeks to Ricola.
Reeks to high heaven.
Yes. Although I would imagine heaven is pretty legit.
You would think it smells good.
Yeah.
Maybe it stinks to all the way till you get up there. Maybe that's what the expression means.
Or it's all relative, right? It may just smell like good, but
rainbows,
then heaven is just
butterflies.
like, ooh, this is immaculate.
Yeah.
Like the reception. Now, no disrespect to the Raiders, Shane. I'm sure they're fine.
Franco.
Good player. A little soft. My mom's favorite, not in mine.
A little soft. Franco Harris.
Franco Harris here for running out of bounds.
Is that a hot
take? Not all the way. She likes him because I think she thinks he was good looking. I don't know why you like him, but I'm not here to judge. I mean, you do you. 2024, Shane.
Your
No, I
mom's a
thought you
big
said your
Franco
mom-
Harris
I
guy?
thought you said your mom didn't like him.
No, she likes Franco.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm betting on.
What?
I don't know if I can find an in-season win total,
Uh-huh.
but I think Florida State wins fewer than 8 games this year.
Oh, going out on the old limmer.
I mean, look at the schedule. It's not crazy difficult, but all of a sudden these games that you think they probably win, you go at SMU, that feels like a loss now.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. SMU is better than the teams they just played.
Wow. Okay.
They get Clemson at home, but that feels like a loss now, potentially. I don't know what to do with at Duke yet, but I think like that could be problematic.
Certainly on TV more than Leave It to Beaver.
At Miami, that's a loss. That's a 4-game stretch there. Then they've got North Carolina at home. Then they go at Notre Dame. That's not a great stretch for Florida State.
Okay, well, have it your way.
I think they're losing 4 out of those 6 games minimum, and they're already at 2 losses.
Well, I hope you enjoy this season. Don't be old Denny Downer.
No, it's all right. It's, it is what it is.
Man, that sounds like nothing screams fair weather fan like the level of disappointment that you don't let creep in when your team isn't good.
Well, no, I'm just going to emotionally protect myself from, if I look at this team, I watch this Florida State team, right? I'm like, that's a bad football team. They're playing bad football right now. It looks a lot like late stage Bobby Bowden teams where you're like, yeah, I can tell there's talent out there, but they're not running in the right direction.
Yes, indeed.
Speaking of which, do you know who you need to conjure up?
Who?
You need to conjure up 1989 Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
Do you know what Bobby Bowden did in 1989?
No.
Started 0-2.
Do
you know what Bobby Bowden finished in 1989?
I think 10-2.
10-2.
Yeah.
Smart dude.
I don't have that level of confidence.
No,
in this team.
Did Mike seem a little defeated for you?
Mike Norvell?
Yeah.
No, I don't know that he knows what the fix is though.
Chemistry.
Yeah, I don't know if you can fix that on the fly in the season. That's tough.
Got a lot of individuals.
Like that's a tough fix in season.
Yeah.
If you don't have that buttoned up by the time
I told you it's an Ireland thing. The minute you come back from across the ocean or the pond, as some people like to say, you cannot get out of your feelings.
You get some bad haggis over there or something like.
Yeah. I wouldn't eat that.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, who's eating haggis?
There's a lot of Scottish people, I think, but I couldn't think of a specifically Irish food besides potatoes.
Were you thinking famine?
Well,
in the win column.
Yeah,
Wow.
So it's a famine for a lot of teams that go over there.
How
feel
about
good.
them apples?
They're not feeling good when they come back.
Kind of more of a fried chicken guy, Shane. Do we still have that in the old queue?
Over apples? Not a big apples guy?
Nah, they're fine.
You like fried apples?
No.
Like with the cinnamon? Oh, yeah, you don't like sweet stuff.
No, and I don't like warm fruit.
So you don't eat pie?
Why do you think I turn on the AC every time I come in here and sit next to you?
I don't know. It seems like you wear sleeves all the time.
They got a pickle on the chicken sandwich.
You doing all right over there?
Man, I'm funny.
Funny looking.
I am. That's a little 5-year-old-ish.
Yeah, because you're the bastion of maturity over here today.
I am. I love the word bastion. Good on you.
Like Bastion Janikowski?
It's always got to quote.
Always got to go back to the Raiders.
Yeah, not FSU.
Yeah, no, a big Raiders
but
kicker
for
guy.
me, since I want to feel involved, probably the vodka.
By the way,
you can have the Raiders. You can have FSU. Give me the Chopin.
You had mentioned earlier, like if Sanders was to go and coach at FSU,
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
I didn't mention that. That's kind of the hot rumor now.
I was out of breath, Brian. I'd be out.
That would be
I'd be out.
amazing.
I'd be done. I'm out.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
That so Deion Sanders is the threshold of your love of FSU.
He's the deal breaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I wonder what the equivalent for me would be.
Like a guy you just can't stand that if they went to coach the Steelers or something, you just be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Deion for me.
Gosh, is there that guy? Maybe like if Doc Rivers went to the Lakers.
Not a big Doc Rivers guy?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I could see that.
No. But I mean, if I could stand Mike Brown, I could probably gut Doc.
Yeah.
But it would be tough. But I'll give you my lock stock of the week on Friday when we do this segment.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Not as easy as like saying FSU or SC would win outright.
Yeah.
But along those lines.
Felt pretty good about.
Yep.
Look good on.
Are you down on Brian Kelly?
I don't know if I'm down on him. I think he's a really good football coach.
Was that a phony press conference? I watched it 15 times.
Yeah, it seemed like fake outrage a little bit.
Go back and watch that with a clear mind. Not to go off Friday Night Lights, but what is it?
Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose.
Wow, it's a little weird, but sure.
I like Friday Night Lights.
Ravi here for Bad Santa guy.
That's a different Friday Night Lights. I like the other one. I like the show.
Shane, what's the guy's name again?
Kyle Chandler.
No.
That's the show. Billy Bob Thornton's the other one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bad Santa.
Yeah.
Him.
That's the movie. That's the movie coach.
Stick with the script.
Our batter Santa.
There's a couple different scripts though.
That's the second one.
Batter?
They made a sequel?
Yeah, there's Bad Santa too.
Oh God.
But they didn't call it batter, did they? Like Nelly up?
No, like BADDER, bad grammar. Badder.
That's not a word.
I know, but you don't have to have real words to put in a movie title. They can kind of just call them whatever they want.
Pretty sure, unless they might have called the like the extended cut that.
Like Narnia is not a real place either, but it's in that movie title.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's.
Well, I smell bad.
You see what he just tried to do? It all stemmed from the FSU thing, and I at least tried to encourage you with giving Bobby Bowden 1989 as a frame of reference for you to feel better about yourself.
No, but I watched this team. This is a bad football team.
But you're really comparing Narnia to batter.
Yeah, they're both things that aren't real.
So was 89? Was that the first year Sanders wasn't there? After 4 years?
I think he was there in 89.
Or was it 88?
I think he was 88.
Was he?
So did he go 0-2 because Sanders wasn't there?
Wow, that's a good call, Shane. Did Dion leave in 89?
I thought he was 89, but I could be wrong.
We didn't know Bobby Bowden went 10-2 in Tallahassee after starting 0-2. Do you think I believe your whole Dion thing?
I mean, I was 2 years old, so yeah, I missed that one.
Wow, that's scary. Your boy was like 15, scared to death starting high school as a freshman.
You're right, 88. 89 was his first year in Atlanta.
I do know me some Dion. I love Dion.
I'm sure you do.
But guess what I won't do?
He seems like your type of guy.
Wow. Bet on it that Ravi won't make it to tomorrow. That is your War Horse segment.
Bet on it, brought to you by War Horse Sportsbook. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla will be back to wrap up the show here on a Tuesday. It's a good thing it's a short week. I don't know if DB and I can stand each other for a full 5 days this week. We'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Wrapping up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. And we're brought to you by our friends at Big Brother, Big Sister. If you want to get involved, get to mentoromaha.org. Big Brothers, Big Sisters empowers young people through one-to-one mentoring relationships that unlock their full potential. You can make a difference by becoming a big brother, big sister, or big couple. Again, that's mentoromaha.org. DB?
What's up?
I've made a wager.
Oh, boy. Is it legit?
Yeah, it's a lunch wager with our mutual friend.
Oh, RP?
Yeah. He
are
says-
you taking advantage of his emotions?
No, he offered it. He goes, hey, I go, this is a bad football team, but they're going to make a bowl game. And he goes, lunch wager, question mark? I don't think they make a bowl game.
Wow, so he's
out. He's all the way out.
Yeah, he can be emotional too.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he doesn't think FSU can win 6?
I think they'll make a bowl game. I do. He
and I'll
he
bet
thinks
you
the
that you lose
teams
that.
he thinks the teams quit, that they're out on him.
They look like
they
quitters.
They did.
They do look like quitters.
The only hope that I've got is that there's some guys, and I don't know this for a fact. This is just
wow. He took that.
He offered it. I wouldn't have bet.
Yeah, he's not afraid. I mean, that's seat cushion money for him.
It's I think it's I mean, I could see a world where they don't make a bowl game. Like I could see how that could happen. I really do.
I don't know why you guys like him. It's weird.
Ryan?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because he's not always like super optimistic.
I don't know.
It's like Jay called the other day. She's like, I wonder if he's tailgating. I was like, of all the people you could pick, you're picking him. He's not always nice.
He's nice to me. Maybe it's a you thing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. I mean, good point. Good point. He did talk me off the ledge a couple months ago.
You know,
so
there's
some
some
redeeming qualities.
I think there's
his wife's cool.
Yeah, I like Stacy.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah. No, my Natasha came last night too, so we got to hang out.
Really? You
Yeah.
had an FSU party. Couldn't have been nicer for you.
Well, you know, I went
Did he
home.
cook?
No, it was at a local establishment.
Oh,
wasn't last week was at his house. This week was
did he get
out and about?
Hey, I think he got the breakfast sandwich last week here.
I think so. I think he said he did.
God, I'm still.
You've been thinking about that breakfast sandwich for a while.
All weekend.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's
Yeah.
a lot going on there.
It is.
There's
There's
a lot happening there.
Was it odd to see during the game the 10 beside FSU?
It was a little just because it's like I know
You
they
didn't
lost,
feel like
and I
they
know they're
shouldn't be
not
like that.
Yeah, I know they don't change it from week 0 to week 2, but I was just like, yeah, I mean, this is
You know what doesn't look right?
What?
7 versus 9 or 5 versus 9.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is this week?
That's Texas, Michigan, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that look right?
Yeah, Michigan doesn't feel like the 9th best team in the country.
It's still only 7.
I'll buy Texas as one of the top 5 teams in the country, but I'm not buying Michigan as one of the top 10.
Does Notre Dame at 7 look right?
That sounds about right.
I think you're basing that on where they'll end up. Do you think that that's the 7th best team? Because chances are they may not lose.
I think, they're definitely in the top 10.
Because it's not like you watched A&M and you're like, oh, they're world beaters.
No, but I think Notre Dame's in the top 10. That's a really, really good
They're
defense.
good.
Riley Leonard makes up, if he can stay healthy, his athleticism makes up for some lack of offensive explosiveness.
Yeah.
Like he can cover up for some warts on that side of the ball. So, I look at Notre Dame as one of the top 10 teams in the country.
Okay.
I don't look at, obviously I didn't look at Florida State as one of the, but I also kind of think it's funny how people are like, oh, this Boston College, huge upset. And I get it was a -17, -16.5, whatever.
You can't rationalize that. It's a good upset.
No, it's a good win, but I also don't think Florida State's good. Like I said this last week after Georgia Tech, I was like, there's real issues on that Florida State team. That didn't feel fluky. So I thought the 17 was way too big, but I'm sitting there and I go, I get it's an upset. It's at Florida State. That's a bad loss for them. I also don't think that's a very good football team. Like if you wiped the uniforms in terms of just made them plain, and you asked me to be like, hey, which of those two teams is better? I would have pointed to Boston College. Boston College just looked like a better football team in basically every facet.
Are you excited for the NFL? Shane, make sure we grab that. So we got to do this in sequential order, Shane. I think obviously Nebraska-Colorado in terms of guests.
Mm-hmm.
Then I kind of want to stay local with Iowa State.
Just some Iowa State.
And Texas, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, we got to sneak in some NFL.
At least by Thursday. Wednesday or Thursday, let's get some NFL in. Because we kick off Thursday, right?
Well, I'm not in control of that.
Well, I'm talking to my guy over here who's not looking at me.
As he's writing it down as we're talking.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
That didn't sound like you, Shane. You good?
Your voice changed a little bit?
No, that sounds like somebody way better at doing what they do than what I do.
So while you guys were at the local establishment, did you talk about both your two's favorite former head coach getting a job with the Rams?
Oh, we did briefly.
He loves him too. You guys were both.
We did
You
briefly.
share that in common too.
I actually I don't have a problem with him getting a job.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one of those people where, and listen, I'm not going to pretend like I liked him or that I didn't just absolutely drive a bus over him on the way out of town. Like, honestly, to be fair though, I was driving that bus over him for a good couple years prior to that. So it's not like I piled on after the horse was already dead. But I don't have a problem with him getting a job. Like, I think
McVay, that's a good gig.
He's obviously got a level of football acumen that, if that's real, like that's not sitting here thinking he's totally full of smoke and that he has no sort of ability to be a good football coach. Would I want him to be the head coach of a team I cared about? Absolutely not. But I don't think he should never work again. That's somebody else's problem. If it is a problem, that's not my, what do I care if he works for the Rams? He doesn't have to go to jail. He doesn't have to live in purgatory forever.
Well, we're going rapid fire here since I only have you for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah.
Can I ask you if another number looks right?
Yeah, sure.
How about number 25 Kansas going to Champaign?
I thought they were 22.
22. Number 22 ranked Kansas going to Champaign.
Does it look right in the sense of them being 22?
That it's 5.5.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. I don't know.
What's your buddy think?
We should ask him. Should talk to him.
Okay.
He knows his stuff. You want to stay local? That's
so you want to just be like a quick correspondent?
Yeah. He's got boots on the ground.
How come you're quick to tell me when I was wrong? How about the other freebie that I gave you in passing with Oklahoma? Were you like, hey, man, good job, DB?
What'd you tell me on Temple?
Yeah.
I don't remember what you said on Oklahoma.
So that game would probably be 63-0.
Well, it was 44-3 or something, wasn't it?
It's 54-3.
Oh, I stopped paying attention after it was like 44-3.
Easy cover.
Yeah.
Easy.
I don't like
no big deal.
I don't like betting lines that are like over 4 touchdowns.
I don't know that much about it. I just didn't think that they would score. Does 19.5 over Boise State look right to you?
That seems high.
So
that seems high. Just first blush.
Are you all in on Oregon?
No, I do think Saturday was concerning.
You do?
Just in the sense of like, okay, I need to see it now. Because you got in my head about Gabriel.
Yeah.
Which is fair. It's
Yeah.
fair. I'm not saying you're wrong, but like that's in my head now. And then when you kind of start with that in the back of your mind, and then you see how it looks on Saturday, and you're like, I don't know. And I think Boise's good. I mean, Boise's going to be able to run the ball, obviously. And I would imagine. And I didn't think Oregon's lines looked overwhelming.
You want another sneaky good one?
What's
for
that?
teams that don't have numbers in front of their names?
What's that?
Because you're an ACC honk.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but
Georgia Tech and Syracuse.
That's an interesting game.
Very much so.
That I think will tell us
very much so
a little bit about each of those teams.
What was Georgia Tech's win total? Like 4.5?
It wasn't high. It wasn't
4, 6.
I don't think it was up to 6. I think it was 4.5, 5.5, somewhere in there.
I like that guy. That's Coach McGuire.
You're a big Coach McGuire guy.
I am. I love him.
I'm just saying, you make fun of me for how much I like Coach Raiola a lot. You have a man crush on just about everybody on staff.
Yeah,
pretty close,
probably.
Because you're like, okay,
but at least I rotate.
Dvorak, that's your guy.
This year,
McGuire, that's your guy.
He'll maybe be next year.
You've got an infatuation with Butler.
Yeah.
We all know you love Satterfield.
I like his philosophy. He's very, very smart.
You were up there on EJ Barthel. You were telling me about.
So can he start to get some credit for development here?
Well, I don't know. Can he?
I'm pretty intense.
So Dowdell isn't better than when you saw him in the spring?
He 100% is.
Emmett's not a better runner?
Probably, yeah.
Wasn't Grant from year over year?
I mean, mine's still holding on to the football thing, but yeah. But no, he looked like a better runner. I mean, Coach Rule said that in the presser. What did he say? Dowdell was a clear 4th coming out of spring?
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
It was like sometimes.
Yeah, you were out. Our guy from Ep.
And I don't even know if I'm in.
Yeah. But you're
he loved him. Little musclehead that came here.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
I think, he from our guy from Ep Foundation Repair. Yeah, he was like.
I think him and EJ lift together.
Probably. They're both all swolled up.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
Couple of big, light-skinned, barrel-chested dudes. My man came in here and stood close to the stage. I was like, whoa. I wanted to say back up, but then I was like, I ain't really trying to have this jump off this early in the morning.
Not feeling that feisty yet?
I have one more number for you.
Yeah.
What would you have made Kansas City and Baltimore as an odds maker?
Ooh. Probably Kansas City 2.5, 3.5, somewhere in there.
At home, you'd make them less than a key number? That seems like stealing, doesn't it? It's my homie.
Yeah, is Lamar the guy that, I mean, if Lamar's that
3,
good,
and he can't beat Mahomes.
Yeah, I'd go like 2.5, 3.5, somewhere in there.
You gotta hope they got a Super Bowl hangover.
I mean, or you gotta hope that Derrick Henry's got some juice in the tank, because that could be a problem.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow. Hurrdat Sports Radio.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.